Chapter 426. In particular, the 9 revolutions of true God and 9 revolutions of heaven that they cultivated could increase their potential. The amount of resources and energy they consumed was unimaginable. To cultivate to the peak of the great Emperor realm that the 7 of them had consumed countless resources, enough to destroy 7 supreme forces. This was because there were no such things as origin crystals in the great 1,000 worlds of the myriad races. If one wanted to cultivate a secret technique, they would have to collect countless natural treasures. No supreme force could spend so much just to cultivate a peak great emperor. It was precisely because they knew that these people had to consume endless resources and energy to increase their strength that Yi Haoran and Yi Haoyun were more hesitant. Now that Yi Tianzong had agreed, Yi Haoran and Yi Haoyun threw away their worries and planned to have another descendant each. They didn't want more. After all, with their Yi family's current status and strength, it would take a lot of energy to cultivate a qualified descendant. Time passed year after year. While Yi Tianzong continued to improve the strength of the Heavenly Court's branch under his command, he also paid attention to Yi Xuanlin's growth. After Yi Xianlin joined the Heavenly Court, Yi Tianzong first arranged for him to be a level 5 godly general. This was also the highest position that could be obtained when one joined the Heavenly Court for the first time. Any marshal that was appointed by the Heavenly Court had to contribute to the Heavenly Court and the human race. They could only be promoted after obtaining enough battle merits in the battle against the foreign races. Therefore, even if a peak great emperor joined the Heavenly Court, they could only start to obtain battle merits at the level 5 godly general level. With the support of Yi Tianzong's pills, weapons, and Xiantian battleships, Yi Xianlin entered the Blood Demon race, the Ancient Elephant race, and the Purple Spirit race to train himself at the borders of the human race under Yi Tianzong's arrangement. In 3,000 years, he achieved great battle merits and became a Moon-class marshal. Yi Xuanlin's strength also reached the peak of the late-stage Great Emperor realm under Yi Tianzong's full support. Since Yi Xianlin cultivated the 9 cycles of heaven's origin and had already reached the 4th cycle, Yi Xianlin now had the strength of a peak great emperor. He was also one of the top peak great emperors, and he became one of the most powerful people in the Heavenly Court's branch under Yi Tianzong's control. In addition to training Yi Xianlin, Yi Tianzong also divided the 9 cycles emperor blood pills that he, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu made into 5 portions. Of the 3,509 cycles emperor blood pills, 2,700 were given to the people in the 300 million strong army under the 3 of them who didn't have the potential to become great emperors. These 2,700 people were also carefully selected. The remaining 809 cycles Emperor Blood Pills were given to Yi Haoran and the others to develop the Hao Ran Zhen sect. Yi Xianlin was given 100 pills to deal with by himself. Li Yu, Han Su, Zhao Lin, and Yu Xian were given 25 pills each to deal with by themselves. In the end, the remaining 400-plus pills were kept for future use. At the same time, the Mystic King pills that could increase the chances of breaking through to the Godly King realm by 30% were given out in large batches. Yi Tianzong also gave out 1,200 Xian, the Archdivine pills, that increased the chances of becoming great emperors by 30%. There were still 800 pills left. There were also Heavenly Connecting Supreme pills that increased the chances of becoming Heavenly Venerables by 20%. Yi Haoran, Su Mingxin, Yi Haoyun, Ziyun Xian, Yi Yuanshan, Li Qingyao, Li Qingshi, and Yi Tianzong were given 3 pills each. There were still 26 pills left in Yi Tianzong's hands. With so many high-level divine pills used up, the Heavenly Court branch that Yi Tianzong was in charge of increased the number of great emperors from 600 to more than 3,500 over the past 3,000 years. The number of God King-level God generals had increased to 2 million. The overall strength of the Heavenly Court branch had increased by more than 10 times. Now, Yi Tianzong could confidently say that the Heavenly Court branch that he was in charge of had definitely gotten rid of the situation of being at the bottom. However, in order not to attract too much attention, Yi Tianzong intentionally concealed most of the strength of the heavenly court branch. Most of the great emperors and god kings were sent to the vast expanse immortal abodes world battlefield to mine ores. Over at Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin's side, Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin, Heavenly Venerate Liangyi, and Heavenly Venerate Wanxiang were constantly on guard because Yi Tianzong would cause trouble every now and then using the identity of Yu Tianlan to cause trouble. Even though they knew that the heavenly court branch under Yi Tianzong's control was developing rapidly, they did not have the time to care about it. Furthermore, it had only been 10,000 years, so Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin and the others did not take it seriously. To them, the most important thing was to get rid of Yu Tianlan. As the saying went, plans could not keep up with changes. Since Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin, Heavenly Venerate Liangyi, and Heavenly Venerate Wanxiang did not cause trouble for him, Yi Tianzong was naturally happy to maintain such a peaceful state of development. He could make use of this peaceful time to improve the strength of New Moon and Xinyu. This way, when he dealt with Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin, Heavenly Venerate Liangyi, and Heavenly Venerate Wanxiang in the future, he could avoid causing more trouble and losses. Just like that, 1,000 years passed, and then another 1,000 years passed. Another 12,000 years passed in the myriad races' great thousand domains, and another 12,000 years passed in the immortal mansion. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu used these 12,000 years to not only find a medium-sized Xiantian primal crystal mine in the world battlefield, but they also completed the 9 transformations of the mysterious technique and the 8 transformations of the 9 transformations of Tianyuan. They also engaged in countless battles with heavenly venerates in the 10 great world. The 3 of them improved their understanding of the laws of nature, and they took a big step forward in the mid-stage heavenly venerate realm. Compared to 12,000 years ago, their strength was almost 10 times stronger. In the myriad races' great thousand domains, after 12,000 years of battles, Yi Tianzong made many contributions in the battles with the foreign races at the borders. He also successfully reached the peak of the Emperor realm, and became the most powerful person in the heavenly court, second only to Yi Tianzong and the other 2. Now, he was a Sun Lord Marshal who commanded billions of celestial soldiers and celestial generals, and he was quite famous in the human race. Also, as Yi Xianlin grew, Yi Tianzong's clone, who was in charge of the heavenly court, gradually handed over some of the matters in the heavenly court to Yi Xianlin. It was obvious that he wanted to nurture Yi Xianlin. In addition, all the emperors and marshals in the heavenly court gradually learned about the relationship between Yi Tianzong and Yi Tianzong. Therefore, some of the sharper people guessed that Yi Tianzong was nurturing a successor. Since he was nurturing a successor, it meant that Yi Tianzong was about to step down from his position as the marshal. This meant that Yi Tianzong's original body was very confident in breaking through to the heavenly venerate realm. Or rather, he had already broken through to the heavenly venerate realm, but he was hiding it and didn't make it public. A marshal who was in charge of the heavenly court and commanded billions of soldiers. It could be said that everyone in the heavenly court, except for the heavenly venerates, wanted to be a marshal. In order to become a marshal of the heavenly court, apart from having sufficient strength and military achievements, there were only 2 ways. One was to have the full support of a supreme force, and the other was to win the position of the heavenly court's sovereign battle. If Yi Xianlin participated in the sovereign battle now, with his strength, as long as he was careful not to be surrounded, he had a good chance of winning. With the support of a supreme force, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, 3 middle-stage heavenly venerates, Yi Xianlin would have no worries. Therefore, there was almost no doubt that Yi Xianlin would become the marshal. In addition to Yi Xianlin, the heavenly court branch under Yi Tianzong's control had developed for 12,000 years. Because of the countless resources plundered by the 3 of them and the various high-level divine pills refined by them, as well as the huge amount of resources handed over by the 4 huge cities, the number of great emperor-level experts had reached 5,600 people, the number of God-King-level divine generals had reached 5 million, and the Heavenly Court's army had reached 13 billion people. The overall strength of the Heavenly Court had increased by several times. I'll use Yu Tianlan's identity one last time. After delaying for so long, it's time to deal with that old thing, Xian Yin. Yi Tianzong could no longer wait to destroy the traitor of the human race, great heavenly venerate Xian Yin. During the years that he had been silently developing and accumulating strength, Yi Tianzong had also slowly collected evidence of great heavenly venerate Xian Yin's collusion with the devil race, the purple spirit race, and the silver moon race. It was precisely because he saw the intolerable evidence of Xian Yin's crimes that Yi Tianzong did not want to continue waiting. He had to destroy this scum and traitor as soon as possible. The sooner he was destroyed, the less evil he would commit. At the same time, Yi Tianzong also figured out the relationship between Xian Yin, heavenly venerate Liangyi, and heavenly venerate myriad forms. The main reason why heavenly venerate Liangyi and heavenly venerate myriad forms were on the same side as great heavenly venerate Xian Yin was because they had been threatened and schemed against by Xian Yin. Both of them had been schemed against by Xian Yin and had formed a connection with the foreign race. Xian Yin had also caught them and controlled their descendants and the sex they were born in. This was why heavenly venerate Liangyi and heavenly venerate myriad forms had no choice but to stand on the same side as Xian Yin. In fact, heavenly venerate Liangyi and heavenly venerate myriad forms probably hated Xian Yin a lot. Furthermore, Yi Tianzong also found out that although heavenly venerate Liangyi and heavenly venerate myriad forms were on the same side as Xian Yin and had committed many evil deeds due to his threats, the two of them were secretly trying their best to make up for their mistakes. This surprised Yi Tianzong. He had not expected heavenly venerate Liangyi and heavenly venerate myriad forms to be so unyielding. After Yi Tianzong learned the specific details, he decided to help heavenly venerate Liangyi and heavenly venerate myriad forms. There was no need to let them die along with Xian Yin. It was not easy for the human race to produce a heavenly venerate. Since they had good intentions, he would let them fight for the human race and use their own contributions to make up for their mistake. After a long search, Yi Tianzong finally found the descendants of heavenly venerate Liangyi and heavenly venerate myriad forms, who were being controlled by Xian Yin. However, in order to avoid alerting the enemy, Yi Tianzong did not rescue them. Instead, he waited for the final action. Now that Yi Tianzong had decided to completely destroy the mysterious dark sect, some related matters had been put on the agenda. The mysterious dark sect had many forces under its command. He couldn't swallow them all at once, nor could he swallow them all. The next step was to contact allies. Chapter 427. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger notified Li Tsang, Yu Chun, and Yuan Su. After tens of thousands of years of cultivation, Li Tsang, Yu Chun, and Yuan Su had all reached the limit of peak great emperors. They had accumulated enough power and were qualified to break through to Celestial Master. However, the three of them weren't very sure that they could break through to Celestial Master, so they hadn't chosen their successors yet. The three of them were all great marshals of the Heaven Court. Before they chose their successors, they couldn't easily break through to Celestial Master. Li Tsang looked at Yi Tianzong's doppelganger and said, "Hao Miao, why did you call all of us here? Is there something important?" Yu Chun and Yuan Su were curious as well. They knew that Yi Tianzong's original body was in seclusion training to break through to Celestial Master. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger rarely came to them. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger looked at Li Tsang, Yu Chun, and Yuan Su and said, "It seems that you've accumulated enough power to break through to Celestial Master. You just haven't chosen your successors yet. In fact, my original body and my Tao partner broke through within 2,000 years of establishing the Heaven Court. Now they're mid-stage Celestial Master. The three of us can perform a combined attack and kill Xian. My real body had also secretly investigated Yinyang and Wanxiang. They had been schemed against by the Xian and had been caught. Their descendants and sex were also under the control of the Xian. They were targets that could be won over. My original body has decided to kill Xian, the scum of the human race. He's a traitor. He's also collected evidence that he colluded with other races and betrayed the human race. However, Xian has more forces under his command. Once he takes action, it'll involve a large area. In order to avoid causing chaos to the human race, I want to control the situation with you. We need to prepare well, then kill Xian quickly. We can't give him any chance to escape. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger explained his purpose in a few words. However, Li Tsang, Yu Chen, and Yuan Su didn't understand. There was a lot of information, so they had to take it slow. This guy had broken through to Celestial Master 20,000 years ago. Now, he was a mid-stage Celestial Master. All three of them were mid-stage Celestial Masters. They were confident that they could kill Great Celestial Master Xian. Why did it feel like they were dreaming? After a while, Li Tsang looked at Yi Tianzong's doppelganger and solemnly said, "Are you sure you can completely kill Great Celestial Master Xian and not cause chaos to the human race? And you have proof?" The Great Celestial Masters. Great Celestial Masters know he colluding with the other races and betraying the human race. However, Great Celestial Master of's betraying other races, but he's is of Celestial Xian of Celestial Xian did its. Song he's. And other celestial all, ints. Celestial great. The S. And celestial T. Celestial Master T. Is. Yuan Su said, "Yes, as long as it doesn't cause chaos to the human race, the Supreme Celestial Masters won't mind us getting rid of Xian." Yi Tianzong's doppelganger smiled, and took out a jade slip from his yin and yang ring. This is a jade slip made by the main body. It contains all the evidence of Xian Yin's crimes, as well as the results of the investigation of yin and yang and Wanxiang. The jade slip has the restriction of the main body's Celestial Master aura. Only a mid-stage Celestial Master can break it. You can take it back and let the people behind you take a look. Also, there are 3 chances to break the restriction of this jade slip. If you can't break it after 3 tries, it will self-destruct. I've already started to arrange it. You guys better hurry up. How much you can eat will depend on how you arrange it. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger handed the jade slip to Li Tsang. The matter was urgent. After receiving the jade slip, Li Tsang felt the noble and supreme Celestial Master aura on it. Therefore, he didn't hesitate. After saying goodbye, he left the hall with Yu Chen and Yuan Su. Then, they informed their respective Celestial Master and rushed to the central heavenly court. Celestial Master Myriad Thunder was Li Tsang's master. He was most proficient in the law of thunder. His cultivation had reached the mid-stage Celestial Master realm, and he had lived for hundreds of millions of years. How is this possible? Did he really say that? Celestial Master Myriad Thunder felt that he had been deceived after hearing Li Tsang's narration. A Celestial Master who had become a mid-stage Celestial Master 20,000 years ago was now a mid-stage Celestial Master. Moreover, the 3 of them had become mid-stage Celestial Masters together and were confident in killing Grand Empyreans. Was this a joke? Every person who could become a Celestial Master was a peerless genius. However, the path of a Celestial Master was difficult. It took a long time and countless resources to break through a small realm. It would take at least 500,000 years. Who had heard of someone who could break through in 20,000 years? There was no such person in the great 1,000 worlds of the myriad races. Perhaps there might have been such a person at the beginning of the world, but there definitely wasn't one now. Seeing that Celestial Master Myriad Thunder didn't believe him, Li Tsang didn't explain. Instead, he took out the jade slip that Yi Tianzong had given him and said, "This is the jade slip that Vast Expanse's doppelganger gave me. It records everything he has secretly investigated over the years. There is a celestial master restriction on the jade slip. Only by breaking the restriction can you see the contents of the jade slip. There are only 3 chances to break this jade slip. If you can't break it after 3 tries, the jade slip will self-destruct." Then, Li Tsang handed the jade slip to Celestial Master Myriad Thunder. "This aura, it really is the power of a celestial master. Why is this Tao energy even stronger than my Tao energy? How is this possible?" As soon as he held the jade slip in his hand, Celestial Master Myriad Thunder felt an extremely tyrannical Tao energy wrapping around the jade slip. Moreover, the Tao energy wrapping around the jade slip was purer and stronger than his own. For a moment, Celestial Master Myriad Thunder was stunned. While Celestial Master Myriad Thunder was in a daze, Yu Chen and Yuanxu's masters brought them to the Myriad Thunder Heavenly Palace. Yu Chen's master was Celestial Master Guyu and Yuanxu's master was Celestial Master Taixian. These 2 celestial masters were middle-stage celestial masters. Like Celestial Master Myriad Thunder, they were both disciples of Supreme Celestial Master Void. Yu Chen and Yuanxu had already told them what had happened. Seeing the jade slip in Celestial Master Myriad Thunder's hand, Celestial Master Guyu asked, "Senior brother, is this the jade slip?" "Yes, it is. Since you're here, feel it. The Tao energy wrapping around the jade slip is simply incredible." Celestial Master Myriad Thunder handed the jade slip to Celestial Master Guyu. This Tao energy, how is it stronger than my Tao energy? How is this possible? Is this really the Tao energy of a middle-stage celestial master? It's too strong. Without exception, Emperor Guyu and Emperor Taixian were extremely shocked. According to Li Tsang and the others, Vast Expanse had only become a Emperor 20,000 years ago. How could he possess such an unbelievably powerful primordial Tao power? "I'm stronger. Let me try and see if I can open this jade slip." Celestial Master Myriad Thunder had already restrained his contempt and disbelief. He took the jade slip from Celestial Master Taishuan's hand with a serious expression and then condensed his own power. A tiny Tao energy, only 2 inches long, was attached to the Thunder Law origin. Under the control of Celestial Master Myriad Thunder, it carried a terrifying power that was enough to destroy space and crashed into the Tao energy restriction outside the jade slip. However, to everyone's surprise, Celestial Master Myriad Thunder's solemn attack did not break the rootless duckweed Tao energy restriction. A layer of dazzling golden light appeared in the air and bounced the attack back. This. Celestial Master Myriad Thunder's heart was filled with mixed feelings. F***ck, I made the atmosphere so serious in vain. My carefully prepared attack failed and was even bounced back. Where am I supposed to put my face? It's just a restriction on a jade slip. Does it have to be so awesome? Let's do it together. I don't believe that there's nothing we can do about a mere rootless duckweed restriction. Emperor Guyu stared at the jade slip in front of him, feeling very uncomfortable. This was giving them a show of strength. If 3 Emperors could not even open a single restriction, wouldn't that be embarrassing to death? Okay. Celestial Master Myriad Thunder controlled the jade slip to float in the air. Then, he stood together with Celestial Master Guyu and Celestial Master Taixian, condensing their power at the same time. This time, the 3 of them were even more prepared. They condensed their power to the extreme. Then, 3 different beams of light, 3 tiny Dao Yuan that was enough to destroy the universe, attacked the seemingly ordinary jade slip at the same time. Chapter 428. Just as the 3 attacks were about to destroy the jade slip, a dazzling golden light shield containing a boundless aura appeared. As soon as the dazzling golden shield appeared, the supreme aura filled the entire Myriad Thunder Heavenly Palace. Even Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taishian felt a burst of pressure, let alone Li Tsang, Yu Chen, and Heavenly Venerate Yuanshu. The power of the three clashed with the dazzling golden shield for a while. In the end, the dazzling golden shield still won. The three attacks dissipated into nothingness. Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taishuan's faces fell. What the F***CK? What kind of shitty restriction is this? Are you sure it's not deliberately embarrassing us? Li Tsang, Yu Chen, and Heavenly Venerate Yuanshu looked at each other on the other side. The situation was really beyond their expectations. They had never thought that three Heavenly Venerates would be unable to break the restriction. Now the atmosphere in the hall was extremely awkward. They didn't dare speak. Breaking the restriction wasn't a matter of strength. It also depended on the purity and profoundness of the power, not the quantity. Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taishian could destroy the Jade Slip, but the quality of their Tao energy wasn't enough to break the restriction of the Jade Slip. Celestial Venerable Myriad Thunder reached out to summon the Jade Slip and carefully sensed it. His face became even gloomier. In his perception, although the power of the restriction on the Jade Slip's outer layer had decreased, it wasn't something they could break in one try. Xian Yin is a great Heavenly Venerate. Whether he should be completely eradicated still depends on Master's decision. What do you think? Heavenly Venerate Guyu suddenly said. Yes, that's right. Master needs to see the evidence of Xian Yin's crimes before deciding whether to eradicate him. How about this? Let's go find Master. Heavenly Venerate Taishian also understood what Heavenly Venerate Guyu meant and agreed. Okay, then let's go find Master. The three of you wait here first. Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder's last words were directed at Li Tsang, Yu Chen, and Heavenly Venerate Li Tsang. Then, without waiting for them to answer, Heavenly Lord Myriad Thunder and the other two disappeared. Li Tsang, Yu Chen, and Yuan Su couldn't help but look at each other inexplicably as they watched Myriad Thunder Celestial Venerate and the other two leave in embarrassment. Then, they tacitly remained silent and quietly stayed in the Myriad Thunder Celestial Palace. On the other side, Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishian didn't make any noise. They quietly arrived at Transcendent Heaven Palace, at the very center of the central celestial court. First, they each took out an obscure jade talisman. Then, the three of them all crushed the jade talismans. After a while, they seemed to have received some sort of hint and directly entered Transcendent Heaven Palace. From the outside, Transcendent Heaven Palace didn't look any different from the other palaces in heaven. The only difference was its size. But after entering Transcendent Heaven Palace, one could see that the inside was a vast world. The energy of heaven and earth was extremely abundant, and there were all kinds of heavenly and earthly treasures that were over 10,000 years old everywhere. There were also many rare divine materials that were exposed on the ground. Empyrean Myriad Thunder and the other two didn't find this strange. Clearly, they had been here many times before. After following a void passage to the center of the world, Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishian saw the Supreme Heavenly Venerate hovering in the air. The Supreme Heavenly Venerate didn't conceal himself at all, revealing an ancient and vicissitude face. The endless dimensional space around him was constantly being destroyed, born, and destroyed. It was a never-ending cycle. What are you here for? A somewhat aged voice came from the Supreme Heavenly Venerate's body. The three of them looked at each other. In the end, Empyrean Myriad Thunder, who was the senior brother, recounted what had happened. However, he omitted the fact that they had failed to break the restriction twice. After hearing this, the Supreme Heavenly Venerate's expression didn't change. He reached out and took the jade talisman from Empyrean Myriad Thunder's hand. After taking a look, he said, "A lot of the restriction's power has been consumed. However, the purity and profoundness of the Tao energy are comparable to that of a great heavenly venerate. It's no wonder that you can't break it. Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishen felt a little ashamed when they heard this. However, they were shocked by the Supreme Heavenly Venerate's words. The Tao energy was comparable to that of a great heavenly venerate. How did the vast expanse do it? While Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishen were still secretly shocked, the Supreme Heavenly Venerate had already broken the restriction on the Jade Talisman and seen the contents recorded in it. The Supreme Heavenly Venerate's face, which seemed to have remained unchanged for millions of years, revealed an angry expression. Mysterious Een is too outrageous. I originally hoped that he would change, but it seems that I was too optimistic. You guys should take a look too. I'll leave this matter to you guys. Cooperate with the vast expanse and don't let the human race fall into chaos. After Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishen saw the contents of the Jade Talisman, they felt an uncontrollable anger erupt from the bottom of their hearts. The contents of the Jade Talisman were too shocking. The sins of great heavenly venerate Mysterious Een were simply intolerable. This despicable Mysterious Een is the great heavenly venerate of the human race. He has received endless resources from the human race and the worship of countless cultivators. However, he has harmed countless geniuses, colluded with foreign races, betrayed the human race, and used the power of foreign races to eliminate dissidents. He even held other heavenly venerates hostage. The sins he has committed are intolerable and should be punished by both humans and gods. Empyrean Myriad Thunder couldn't wait to kill great heavenly venerate Mysterious Een immediately. Master, don't worry. We definitely won't let this unscrupulous traitor off. We must destroy him completely, Empyrean Guyu said furiously. You guys are still no match for Mysterious Een. Let the vast expanse do it. You guys can assist from the side. He is different from you guys. There is no need to fear him. Go. After saying that, Supreme Empyrean Void waved his hand, and Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishen returned to Wushang Heavenly Palace. Senior brother, what should we do? Empyrean Taishen looked at Empyrean Myriad Thunder and asked. Since Master wants us to assist Empyrean Vast Expanse in eradicating Mysterious Een, let's go meet Empyrean Vast Expanse first and see what ability he has to kill a great heavenly venerate, Empyrean Myriad Thunder said after thinking for a while. Okay, let's go meet him. Accompanied by Li Tsang, Yu Chen, and Yuan Su, Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishen quietly arrived at the Heavenly Court branch that Yi Tianzong was in charge of. Just as they entered the Heavenly Court branch, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu, who had walked out of the immortal mansion, sensed them. Yi Tianzong stretched out his hand and flicked a stream of qi into the void. Then, Li Tsang, Yu Chen, Yuan Su, Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishen arrived at the hall where Yi Tianzong and the other two were. Yi Tianzong said with a smile, Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishen. This is the second time we've met since I was fortunate enough to see the three Empyreans during the Battle of the Sovereigns. Li Tsang, Yu Chen, Yuan Su, long time no see. Alas, long time no see, but you've changed too much. You've become a Empyrean without anyone noticing. We still can't believe it, Li Tsang said with some bitterness. Looking at Yi Tianzong's majestic appearance, his heart was filled with emotion. As for Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu, who were beside Yi Tianzong, Li Tsang and the other two didn't dare to look at them. After becoming Empyreans, Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu were simply too beautiful. They were so beautiful that Li Tsang and the other two felt uneasy. They were afraid that they would embarrass themselves if they looked at them. In fact, it wasn't just the three of them. Even Empyrean Myriad Thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishen were dazzled when they saw the peerless Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu. Fortunately, the three of them had cultivated for hundreds of millions of years. Their minds were very firm and they quickly recovered. Otherwise, who knew how embarrassing it would have been? Empyrean myriad thunder stabilized his mind. He looked at Yi Tianzong and said, "Let's get straight to the point. We already know the situation and have reported it to Empyrean supremacy. Empyrean supremacy means that since Empyrean vast expanse wants to kill Xianyin, the traitor of the human clan, then you should do it. The three of us will support you. However, we need to know your strength." Upon hearing this, Yi Tianzong said with a smile, "Okay, straightforward. In that case, I'll only use one move. You three Empyreans can feel my strength." After saying that, Yi Tianzong used 80% of his strength to attack Empyrean myriad thunder and the other two Empyrean supremacies. Yi Tianzong casually pressed his finger over. Celestial Venerable Wanlei, Celestial Venerable Guyu, and Celestial Venerable Taishuan's expressions changed drastically. They mobilized all their power as if they were facing a great enemy and used their strongest abilities to deal with it. A total of 4 extremely condensed forces collided with each other. Suddenly, the space was shattered and a black hole about 10 feet in size appeared. Other than that, it didn't cause any great changes in the sky. Under the control of the 4 Empyrean supremacies, the 4 forces that could destroy the universe resisted and offset each other. In the end, Yi Tianzong's soul-crushing finger destroyed the joint attack of Empyrean myriad thunder and the other 2 Empyrean supremacies, and continued to attack them. In a moment of desperation, Empyrean myriad thunder and the other 2 Empyrean supremacies once again displayed their magic skills to resist Yi Tianzong's attack. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu blocked the entire hall with their power. Therefore, the fight between Yi Tianzong and Empyrean supremacies did not attract anyone's attention. The soul-crushing finger, which had already lost part of its power, broke through the defense of Empyrean myriad thunder and Empyrean supremacies and continued to press down on them. It was not until Empyrean myriad thunder and the other 2 Empyrean supremacies used their magic skills to resist for the 3rd time that the soul-crushing finger disappeared along with their attack. At the end of the fight, Yi Tianzong smiled slightly and appeared to be at ease. However, Empyrean myriad thunder, Empyrean Guyu, and Empyrean Taishan looked as if they had just survived a disaster. They only had less than 20% of their Tao energy left. Looking at Yi Tianzong in horror, Empyrean myriad thunder and the other 2 Empyrean supremacies couldn't understand why Yi Tianzong's strength was so much higher than theirs when they were all middle-stage Empyrean supremacies. Chapter 429. How is it? Am I strong enough to deal with Xianyin? Yi Tianzong asked calmly. Our knowledge is shallow. Heavenly Sovereign vast expanse's strength is superb. The 3 of us are willing to assist you in dealing with Xianyin. In the world of cultivators, strength was the prerequisite and foundation of everything. After Heavenly Sovereign Wanlei, Heavenly Sovereign Guyu, and Heavenly Sovereign Taishan witnessed Yi Tianzong's strength, they immediately acknowledged Yi Tianzong's leadership. Before I became a Heavenly Sovereign, Great Heavenly Sovereign Xingyang protected me. In addition, I have a blood feud with Xianyin. This time, I would like to inform Great Heavenly Sovereign Xingyang to deal with Xianyin. What do you all think? Yi Tianzong said. No problem. One more person means one more strength. If Great Heavenly Sovereign Xingyang joins us, we will have a 100% chance of completely killing Xianyin. We can also minimize the impact and losses. Heavenly Sovereign Wanlei and the other 2 agreed with Yi Tianzong's words. All right. I will inform Great Heavenly Sovereign Xingyang to come over. The communication with Great Heavenly Sovereign Xingyang went smoothly. After experiencing Yi Tianzong's strength, Great Heavenly Sovereign Xingyang, who was irreconcilable with Xianyin, could not wait to kill Xianyin. However, under the persuasion of Yi Tianzong and the others, he gave up on this idea. Then, he began to mobilize his own forces and secretly deploy the forces under Xianyin's command. After 100 years of careful preparation, Great Heavenly Sovereign Xian Yin's forces were not aware of the secret deployment of Yi Tianzong, Heavenly Sovereign Wanlei, and Great Heavenly Sovereign Xingyang because of the deterrence of Yu Tianlan. After 100 years of deployment, everything was ready. It was time to take action. On this day, Yi Tianzong continued to disguise himself as Yu Tianlan and launched a sneak attack on an Emperor-level force under Great Heavenly Sovereign Xian Yin. After launching 2 consecutive attacks, Yu Tianlan turned and ran. After Yu Tianlan left, Great Heavenly Venerate Xian Yin's main body arrived. The murderous Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin sensed the direction Yu Tianlan had left in and immediately tore through space to chase after him. He did not wait for Heavenly Venerate Liangyi and Heavenly Venerate Wanxiang to arrive. After Yu Tianlan left, he arrived above the misty clouds that were billions of miles above the ground. Then, he stopped, as if he was waiting for someone. Less than 2 seconds after he stopped, Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin's figure traversed space and appeared above the misty sky. Why don't you keep running? Why aren't you running anymore? Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin looked coldly at Yu Tianlan, who had stopped in front of him. The anger in his heart could not be contained. Ever since Yu Tianlan had appeared, Mysterious Yin had become the laughingstock of the human race. Not only had he lost a lot of face, but he had also lost a lot of subordinates and resources. It was simply a great humiliation. Now that he had seen the culprit, Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin didn't want to pursue the matter, even though he found it strange that the culprit had stopped running. The only thing he wanted to do now was to tear Yu Tianlan into pieces and burn his bones to ashes. Upon seeing that Mysterious Yin had entered the encirclement, Yu Tianlan removed his disguise and returned to his identity as Yi Tianzong. Then, he unleashed the aura of a Great Heavenly Venerate and sneered. Run? Why should I run? There has never been a Yu Tianlan. The original Yu Tianlan died a long time ago. You should be worried about yourself now. Before Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin could ask any questions, Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang, Heavenly Venerate Wanlei, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taishian appeared one after another and surrounded all of his escape routes. At the same time, the space within a 10 billion-mile radius changed unpredictably. Everyone seemed to have traversed an endless dimension and arrived in an endless void. You all. Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin sensed the monstrous killing intent coming from everyone and the change in the environment. He immediately understood that this was a trap targeted at him. The goal was to get rid of him, and they definitely had the support of a Supreme Heavenly Venerate. Otherwise, the people in front of him would never have done this or changed the environment in an instant. Humph. It seems like that old thing in the void has decided to take action. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the guts to do this. However, it won't be that easy to get rid of me. Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin exuded an icy aura and looked at everyone with murderous intent, especially Yi Tianzong. I didn't expect that an ant from back then would actually become a huge threat and let a bastard like you toy with me for tens of thousands of years. Today, I must kill you and make you suffer the pain of the 9 nether hells. Yi Tianzong didn't take Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin's words to heart. Instead, Yi Tianzong felt that something was amiss when Mysterious Yin was still so calm despite being surrounded by so many people. He definitely had a trump card that they didn't know about. Luo Yunyang thought about how Mysterious Yin had colluded with the demon race as a human Great Heavenly Venerate. Given his status, it was very likely that he had a trump card that the demon race's Supreme Heavenly Venerate had given him. Perhaps, he could summon a clone of the demon race's Supreme Heavenly Venerate. If that was the case, Luo Yunyang couldn't give him a chance to use his trump card. Yi Tianzong shared his guess with Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang and the other 2 Great Heavenly Venerates via voice transmission. When they heard Yi Tianzong's guess, their expressions changed unnaturally. Then, they no longer had the mood to talk nonsense with Mysterious Yin and immediately attacked. Just as Yi Tianzong had said, they had to get rid of Mysterious Yin as quickly as possible. No matter what trump card he had, they couldn't give him time to use it. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang acted as the main force and used his strongest mystic ability, Xingyang's World, to attack Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin. At the same time, Myriad Thunder's Clear Sky, Eternal Universe Annihilation, and Mysterious Sky Limitless were also used by Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taixin. Yi Tianzong didn't participate in the attack. His task was to kill Mysterious Yin. Therefore, his figure disappeared into the void. Then, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu also hid their figures and gathered on either side of him. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu had been in the Immortal Mansion all this time. In order to catch Mysterious Yin off guard, they didn't appear. After the three of them gathered, they began to gather power and prepared to use the joint attack mystic ability, Boundless Limitless Yin-Yang Fusion. After becoming Heavenly Venerates, Yi Tianzong and the other two had only used their joint attack mystic ability once. That was in the world battlefield in the Immortal Mansion. Once, when the three of them had been surrounded, they had used their joint attack mystic ability and instantly killed 10 mid-stage and late-stage Heavenly Venerates before killing their way out of the encirclement. When a Heavenly Venerate used their joint attack mystic ability, the power it displayed had already exceeded the scope of a Heavenly Venerate. It was a forbidden power that transcended time and space. It was simply unstoppable and was almost comparable to a supreme Heavenly Venerate. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang, Heavenly Venerate Wanlei, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taixin attracted Mysterious Yin's attention, while Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu used their ultimate attacks. They couldn't give Mysterious Yin any chance to rest. Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin had a grave expression as he faced the joint attack of Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang and Heavenly Venerate Wanlei. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang was a Great Heavenly Venerate of the same level as him. Although he wasn't as strong as him, he had the help of Heavenly Venerate Wanlei, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taixin, which evened out the gap in strength between them. In addition, Yi Tianzong and the other two were eyeing him covetously. If he wasn't careful, he would die here today. Fortunately, he still had a backup plan. In the end, he would definitely be able to kill his way out of the encirclement. However, if he used his backup plan, he would have to completely betray the human race and join the demon race. Living in the demon race would definitely not be as comfortable as living in the human race. However, for the sake of his own life, he could only join the demon race. Mysterious Yin Sky Ceiling. Facing the siege of Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang and the other three, Great Heavenly Venerates Mysterious Yin also displayed her absolute strength, which was second only to a supreme Heavenly Venerate. In the vast void, the frost that froze everything. She faced Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang, Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taixin alone without falling into a disadvantageous position. Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin had a grave expression as he faced the battle. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang, Heavenly Venerate Wanlei, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taixin were also relieved. Heavenly Venerate Wanlei and the other two were glad that they had pulled in Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to end the battle today. On the other hand, Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang was glad that he hadn't been hot-headed enough to seek out Mysterious Yin alone. Mysterious Yin was indeed a Great Heavenly Venerate who had cultivated for hundreds of millions of years more than him. Although they were both Great Heavenly Venerates, Mysterious Yin's strength was much stronger than his. Even with the help of 3 mid-stage Heavenly Venerates, they were barely able to fight to a draw. It seemed like Mysterious Yin had definitely been holding back previously and was plotting something. Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin was doing his best, but he still paid attention to Yi Tianzong, who was hiding, and was always on guard against Yi Tianzong's sneak attack. At that moment, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu, who had already gathered all their strength, were about to combine their powers. Now's the time. Attack with all your might. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang, Heavenly Venerate Wanlei, Heavenly Venerate Gyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taishen heard Yi Tianzong's voice transmission and immediately understood that Yi Tianzong was about to unleash his killing blow. Thus, the four of them went all out and used mystic techniques that consumed a lot of energy to increase their offensive power several times. Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin didn't care about anything else when he saw this. He also used a mystic technique to increase his strength and clashed with Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang and the others. The entire endless void collapsed and trembled. Fragments of space flew everywhere and huge spatial cracks appeared. It seemed like the entire void was about to shatter. As Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin and Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang and the others clashed, a tricolored beam of light that surpassed time and space suddenly appeared in the void. It silently traversed the endless dimensions of time and space and penetrated Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin's head as soon as it appeared. Then, the tricolored beam of light shuttled through Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin's body a dozen times at an unimaginable speed before disappearing. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu appeared on the spot. Chapter 430. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang stepped forward to check Xian Yin's corpse. He heaved a long sigh of relief after confirming that Xian Yin was completely dead. He then turned around to look at Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu and said in amazement, "If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed that Xian Yin died without any resistance under your joint attack. With such a forbidden ability, no one below the Supreme Heavenly Venerate would be a match for you." Hearing the lingering fear in Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang's words, Heavenly Venerate Wanlei, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taishen felt the same way. They couldn't help but be wary of Yi Tianzong and the other two. Yi Tianzong didn't care about Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang's words and said with a smile, "Now that Xian Yin is dead, his clones should also be dead. However, just in case, let's do a thorough check first. Yes, it would be troublesome if he left behind any soul fragments. Alright, let's go." Time passed quickly. It had been 2,000 years since the destruction of Great Heavenly Venerate Xian Yin, and the entire human race had become even more prosperous. After eliminating Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin, Yi Tianzong and the others had brought Mysterious Yin's corpse to the Supreme Heavenly Venerate Void after completely wiping out Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin's forces. The result was just as Yi Tianzong had guessed. There was indeed a divine talisman in the Qianquan ring on Xian Yin's corpse that could summon the Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the demon race. They couldn't help but rejoice that they hadn't talked nonsense with Xian Yin and had given him the opportunity to activate the divine talisman. After the Supreme Heavenly Venerate Xian Yin destroyed the divine talisman, Yi Tianzong and the others divided the items in the Qianquan ring. Furthermore, in the following month, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu all relinquished their positions as heavenly court-marshals and became heavenly lords of the heavenly court. They handed over the authority of the Grand Marshal to Yi Xianlin, who had already grown up. Because Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu were Tao companions, the three of them shared the same heavenly palace, which was the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace. The Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace was located in the central heavenly court. Yi Tianzong and the other two could be said to have left the place and come to the central heavenly court. Following them were their personal guards. These 300 million personal guards were used to fill up the empty positions in the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace, as well as to guard the Heavenly Palace. After the upper echelons of the human race completed the distribution of power, the news of Great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Yin's execution spread throughout the entire human race. Furthermore, the crimes that great heavenly venerate mysterious Een had committed and the evidence of him colluding with foreign races were also announced. Instantly, the entire human race was filled with indignation and discussion. Every heavenly venerate of the human race had a territory that they were in charge of. Yi Tianzong and the other two were the key existences in eliminating mysterious Een, so they directly obtained 30% of the territory that mysterious Een had previously ruled. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang, Heavenly Venerate Wanlei, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taixien divided up 50% of the territory, while the remaining 20% was confiscated so that new Heavenly Venerates could be promoted in the future. This was to avoid conflicts of interest with other Heavenly Venerate. As for Heavenly Venerate Liangyi and Heavenly Venerate Wanxiang, they had not been severely punished because they had done many evil deeds with mysterious Een. However, after the decision of the Supreme Heavenly Venerate Void, they were punished to hand over half of the territory that they ruled and to guard the border of the demon race's battlefield for tens of millions of years. Heavenly Venerate Liangyi and Heavenly Venerate Wanxiang were not dissatisfied with this decision at all. They immediately agreed happily. After Yi Tianzong took over the vast territory that he ruled, the Hao Ranzhen sect also benefited and directly moved into the supreme grade paradise that great Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Een had previously occupied. With Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, these three Empyrean-level powerhouses, righteousness could be considered a genuine supreme-level force. Subsequently, Yi Tianzong, with the help of the Hao Ranzhen sect, began to formulate the rules and order of his vast expanse territory. Yi Tianzong selectively retained some of the rules that Mysterious Een had set in the past, abolished some of them, and added some of them. Yi Tianzong's new rules and order dispelled the apprehensions and worries of the Emperor-grade and King-grade forces. On the contrary, because of these rules and order, the vast expanse territory under Yi Tianzong's rule became even more prosperous and active. Unlike Mysterious Yin's previous forceful demands, Yi Tianzong's rules and order were more relaxed and orderly. Every Emperor-grade force, King-grade force, and city no longer had to pay 30% or even 40% of the resources that Yi Tianzong had previously. Instead, it was reduced to 20% of the resources that Yi Tianzong had previously. He had also abolished many taxes in various forms. Just this measure alone had reduced the worries in everyone's hearts by more than half. In addition to reducing taxes, Yi Tianzong also wantonly built cities of various sizes that were similar to war fortresses in the vast expanse territory. The first batch of cities that were built included 10 cosmic realm cities, 100 sky suppression realm cities, and 1,000 soaring cloud realm cities. These cities were essentially war fortresses. Once a battle broke out, they would immediately display their ferocious lethality. In all the cities under Yi Tianzong's rule, he had also set up arenas and life and death arenas to resolve disputes between cultivators. He had also set up recruitment points for the Heavenly Court to provide an endless stream of soldiers for the Heavenly Court. 2,000 years had passed, and there were no major wars at the borders of the human race's territory. The entire human race was still in the process of recovering its strength, and it seemed very peaceful. In addition, the vast territory under Yi Tianzong's rule, which spanned tens of trillions of miles, was obviously much more prosperous than before after 2,000 years of development. Although Yi Tianzong had reduced all kinds of taxes and offerings, the entire territory had become more prosperous, and business transactions had become more developed due to the emergence of various fortresses and cities. As a result, not only did the annual tax revenue not decrease, it actually increased, and the entire Heavenly Court benefited greatly. With more resources, they could cultivate more armies, more powerhouses, and the strength of the human race would also become stronger. In order to increase the strength of the human race, Yi Tianzong had also organized his understanding of Array Dao, Tools Dao, and Alchemy Dao, as well as the content that stopped at the Great Emperor Realm, to the human race in these 2,000 years. Of course, it was not free. If one wanted to obtain it, they would have to spend a large amount of resources. However, no one and no force would refuse such a good thing, because it was necessary. Compared to the value of these things and the value that could be created, the resources spent were not even a drop in the bucket. Yi Tianzong also thought that this move of his had greatly increased his prestige and status within the human race, to the point that he was on par with great heavenly venerate Xingyang. Yi Tianzong hugged Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu as he asked with an intoxicated expression, "Human race, we have stabilized our footing and there are no hidden dangers. Next, it's time to go out for a stroll. Where do you want to go first?" "Let's go to the demon race first." Previously, the demon race was at war with the heavenly saint tribe and the star spirit tribe, so they couldn't take care of the human race and had to stop fighting with us. Now that they have recovered for tens of thousands of years and are no longer restrained by the war, the demon race shouldn't let the human race off so easily. Shen Yu leaned on Yi Tianzong's shoulder and analyzed. "We'll go wherever you say. I'll listen to you." On the other side, Ling Xinyue directly said this and then leaned into Yi Tianzong's arms in enjoyment. This made Shen Yu, on the other side, a bit depressed. "All right, let's go to the demon race and cause trouble for the demon race, and buy some time for the human race." Yi Tianzong made a decision. Yi Tianzong announced to the outside world that he was going into seclusion. Then, the three of them left behind a doppelganger to deal with any unexpected situations. Without alerting anyone, they controlled the immortal mansion to leave the human race's territory and quietly entered the demon race. The demon race represented the dark and evil side of the great thousand world of myriad races. The heavenly saint tribe represented the bright and holy side of the great thousand world of myriad races. The star spirit tribe represented the endless starry sky of the great thousand world of myriad races. The three races that were first born in the great thousand world of myriad races were similar in strength. The demon race and the heavenly saint tribe were natural enemies, but they also disliked the star spirit tribe. The star spirit tribe also disliked the heavenly saint tribe and the demon race. Therefore, all kinds of conflicts and wars often broke out between the three races. Among the top 30 races in the great thousand world of myriad races, each race had a supreme heavenly venerate overseeing it. For example, the blood demon race, which was ranked 11th in the great thousand world of myriad races, also had a supreme heavenly venerate overseeing it. The demon race, the heavenly saint tribe, and the star spirit tribe were the super overlords that occupied the widest and most fertile areas in the great thousand world of myriad races. When any two races joined forces, they were enough to sweep away all the other races. It was said that the demon race, the heavenly saint tribe, and the star spirit tribe each had more than 20 supreme heavenly venerates overseeing it. Compared to the three overlord races, the human race only had one supreme heavenly venerate. In the face of a colossus like the demon race, the human race was no different from a baby facing an adult strong man. They were too weak. Yi Tianzong and the other two had just passed by an ordinary city that was 1,000 miles in size, and they already felt the presence of at least 10 great emperor auras. Since they were going to cause a commotion in the demon race, they might as well make it bigger. They also had to change their identities. They couldn't cause trouble as humans, or they would implicate the entire human race. Yi Tianzong pondered for a while and made a decision. After informing Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, the three of them used their divine powers to transform into the appearance of the demon race. Not only did they change their appearance, but they also changed their internal Tao energy and spiritual aura. They were no different from a heavenly venerate of the demon race. With a supreme treasure like the immortal mansion, they didn't have to worry about being discovered. Yi Tianzong searched for the large cities, emperor-level forces, and supreme-level forces of the demon race one by one. After 2 years of investigation, Yi Tianzong had already figured out the division of forces in the demon race. The demon race was also divided into king-level forces, emperor-level forces, and supreme-level forces. Above the supreme-level forces were the supreme Holy Lands, which were forces established by supreme heavenly venerates. The various levels of forces in the demon race had different manifestations. They could be sects, families, ethnic groups, or cities of different sizes. Unlike the human race, there were many large cities that were more than tens of thousands of miles in the demon race's territory. This kind of large city represented an emperor-level force. Small cities represented small forces, medium-sized cities were equivalent to king-level forces, large cities were equivalent to emperor-level forces, and supergiant cities were equivalent to supreme-level forces. Each supergiant city was at least hundreds of thousands of miles in size. There were many existences below emperor-level forces in the demon race. Yi Tianzong didn't want to waste time. He only looked for existences equivalent to emperor-level forces or supreme-level forces to steal the resources and treasuries of the major forces. Chapter 431. In front of us is a supreme-level force, the mystical devil heavenly palace. Let's pay a visit. Inside the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu were currently lying on a mountain peak piled with resources. Let's wait for 2 days. Let's rest for a while. What's the hurry? Those resources won't run away. Shen Yu said as she leaned lazily in Yi Tianzong's arms. Okay, then let's wait for 2 days. Yi Tianzong didn't mind. His left hand was hugging Shen Yu, and his right hand was hugging Ling Xinyue, looking very uncomfortable. It had been 5,000 years since Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu entered the devil race's territory. Although 5,000 years was not a long time, the devil race was in chaos. Yi Tianzong and the other two had stirred up a great mess. There were really many emperor-level and supreme-level forces in the devil race. Since entering the devil race's territory, Yi Tianzong and the other two had not even explored half of the devil race's territory in 5,000 years. They had already encountered more than 700 supreme-level forces and more than 100,000 emperor-level forces. Regarding these emperor-level and supreme-level forces, Yi Tianzong followed the principle of thieves not leaving empty-handed. He stole at least more than half of the resources and treasuries of these forces. At the same time, he disguised himself as an enemy of these forces and killed more than half of the outstanding talents of these forces, successfully causing many forces to fight fiercely. Along with Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, those emperor-level and supreme-level forces were incited by the three of them. Not only did they steal resources and treasuries, but they also fought fiercely with each other, hating that they could not kill each other. In 5,000 years, the major forces of the devil race had already fought fiercely. How could they still care about the human race? However, at the same time, the major forces of the devil race did not forget to hunt down Yi Tianzong. The reason was that Yi Tianzong had purposely exposed his whereabouts and the fact that he was a celestial master of the demon race when he stole from a supreme force's treasury. Therefore, all the demon race hated Yi Tianzong, the bastard who had caused internal strife in the demon race, and they were frantically hunting him down. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had never acted together before. At most, they had only appeared as two people, and they had always acted as male demon race Empyreans. This was also done to avoid the attention of others. Do not underestimate anyone, and do not underestimate the strength and foundation of an overlord race. If Yi Tianzong and the other two didn't change their gender, and the three of them always acted together, then it was possible that the demons would eventually find out that the humans were the culprits. The higher-ups of the human race knew that there were spies of the demon race within the human race. Not only the human race, but among the top 1,000 races of the great 1,000 worlds, there were spies of the demon race, the heavenly saint race, and the star spirit race. The spies of these three overlord races could find out most of the secrets of the great 1,000 world. Yi Tianzong put an end to all possibilities that could be linked to the human race, and then he started to stir up trouble in the demon race's territory. In 5,000 years, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had already collected an unknown amount of resources. They only knew that in the immortal mansion space, which was hundreds of millions of miles wide, there were mountains of resources piled up. After this, we'll return to the human race. When our hands are itchy, we'll come again, Yi Tianzong said to Shen Yu and Ling Xinyue. With so many resources, the forces under their command would welcome a period of rapid growth, and the strength of the three of them would also increase. Since ascending to the celestial venerable realm, the three of them had all cultivated the 3 lifetimes secret technique and the 3 corpses secret technique. Among them, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had already condensed the past self-body of the 3 lifetimes secret technique. The reason why the 3 corpses secret technique had not severed one of the corpses was that they had not found the most suitable treasure. In the 5,000 years in the demon race, the 3 of them had received a great surprise. All of them had obtained treasures suitable for severing corpses. Yi Tianzong had severed the evil corpses, while Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu had severed the good corpses. The strength of the 3 of them had increased by at least 5 times, and the speed at which they comprehended the laws of heaven and earth had increased by about 20%. 2 days later, Yi Tianzong controlled the immortal mansion to sneak into the mystical Devil Celestial Palace's treasure trove, and then collected all the resources and treasures that stretched as far as the eye could see. Before leaving, Yi Tianzong smashed the entire treasure trove with a palm strike. "Damn it! You thief! I'm going to kill you!" Not long after Yi Tianzong left, Profound Demon's Celestial Palace discovered that the treasure trove had been stolen and frantically searched for any clues. Profound Demon's Celestial Palace was also aware of the theft of many demon race forces' treasure troves, but he never imagined that it would be his treasure trove that had been stolen today. He had clearly laid down layers of restrictions and layers of guards, but the infamous thief had still succeeded. This was simply unacceptable to Profound Demon's Celestial Palace. However, regardless of whether Profound Demon's Celestial Palace could accept it or not, Yi Tianzong had already controlled the immortal mansion to leave the demon race's territory and return to the human heavenly court. After returning to the human heavenly court, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu did not immediately come out of seclusion. Instead, they began to refine all kinds of pills, puppets, array discs, and weapons in the immortal mansion. At the same time, they did not forget to study the construction methods of world-shaking war fortresses comparable to heavenly venerables. With the assistance of tens of thousands of puppets and a total of more than 300 clones, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu stayed in the immortal mansion's cultivation area for 40,000 years, which was equivalent to 5,000 years in the myriad race's world. Less than 1/5 of the resources stolen from the demon race were consumed. In total, more than 3 billion pills were refined. Among them, more than 500 million pills were suitable for divine kings, great emperors, and heavenly venerables. In addition to the pills, there were also hundreds of thousands of emperor weapons and more than 100 heavenly venerables. Yi Tianzong handed over most of the billions of pills and weapons to his clone, asking him to finish processing them in 3,000 years. Then, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu devoted themselves to cultivation. As Yi Tianzong and the other 2 continued to cultivate in seclusion, the vast expanse territory under Yi Tianzong's rule, as well as the many powerhouses and forces under his rule, fell into a state of ecstasy. This was because the vast pavilions in each of the fortresses under Yi Tianzong's name had all kinds of pills, ranging from the 3rd heaven of mythic realm to the great emperor realm. There were all kinds of pills that could assist in cultivation. Even the other heavenly venerables noticed the situation in the vast pavilions. In the following 3,000 years, Yi Tianzong's clone left half of the pills and weapons to the Hao Ranjin sect, his personal guards, and the Heavenly Courts branch. The other half was sold to the various forces of the human race. Due to the appearance of a large number of divine kings and great emperors, the number of divine kings and great emperors in the human race's territory surged. They quickly recovered to their peak state before the war with the demon race, and their overall strength was even stronger. The heavenly courts branch under Yi Xianlin, the Hao Ranjin sect under Yi Haoran, and Yi Tianzong from the vast expanse heavenly palace's personal guards had expanded to 1 billion. The number of great emperors and divine kings was endless, and their overall strength had soared by more than 10 times. The powerful auras that were dormant could not help but make the human race's heavenly venerables look askance. At the center of the central heavenly court, in the Supreme Heavenly Palace, the Supreme Heavenly Venerables was listening to Heavenly Venerables Wanlei's report on the human race's situation in the past 10,000 years. After listening to the report, the Supreme Heavenly Venerables did not say anything. He waved his hand and dismissed Heavenly Venerables Wanlei. Then, his deep eyes seemed to pierce through the endless void dimension, and he saw Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, who were cultivating in seclusion. It seems that the chaos in the demon race is your doing. You made the demon race fall into internal strife, stole their resources, and turned them into various pills to buy time for the human race and increase the strength of the human race. Your methods are truly unfathomable. The human race finally has a chance to rise because of your existence. I hope you can become a Supreme Heavenly Venerables as soon as possible, the Supreme Heavenly Venerables muttered to himself. Time passed slowly, and the human race's strength increased rapidly. Due to Yi Tianzong's influence, the entire human race's territory began to build various large cities to encourage the circulation of commerce. Every month and every year, the human race was developing vigorously, becoming stronger and stronger, and accumulating more and more resources. Another 10,000 years passed. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had been cultivating in seclusion in the human race's vast 1,000 domains in the immortal mansion for 100,000 years. During this period of seclusion, Yi Tianzong, Shen Yu, and Shen Yu had severed their second corpses. With the help of the great power of the second corpses, Yi Tianzong, Shen Yu, and Shen Yu's strength had increased by several times. The power in their bodies had reached the advanced celestial venerables level, and the speed at which they comprehended the laws of heaven and earth had increased by 20%. During this period of time, the three of them had finally taken a big step forward. They had comprehended more than 94% of the occult laws and had successfully broken through to the advanced celestial venerables realm. Chapter 432. After breaking through to the late-stage Heavenly Venerate realm, Yi Tianzong and the other two were many times stronger than when they were mid-stage Heavenly Venerate. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu's strength had reached the peak of the great Heavenly Venerate level, while Yi Tianzong's strength had surpassed the great Heavenly Venerate level but had yet to reach the level of a Supreme Heavenly Venerate. Late-stage Heavenly Venerate. Our seclusion can come to an end. Let's go out and relax. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu left the human world of the immortal mansion and returned to the myriad race's great 1,000 realms. As soon as they walked out of the heavenly palace, Yi Tianzong suddenly looked in a certain direction. His gaze seemed to see through time and space as he saw Li Tsang undergoing his tribulation. That's right, it was Li Tsang undergoing his Heavenly Venerate tribulation. After waiting for tens of thousands of years, the successor he had groomed had finally grown up. Coupled with the fact that he had accumulated enough, Li Tsang finally began to advance to the Heavenly Venerate level without any worries. The timing was quite coincidental. Let's go over and take a look. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu suppressed their auras to the mid-stage Heavenly Venerate level before tearing through the void and heading toward Li Tsang's location. At that moment, Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taishian were guarding Li Tsang within 100 million miles of him. The three of them were nervous when they saw the spatial gate that had suddenly appeared. However, when they saw that it was Yi Tianzong's group, they relaxed. They were on the same side. After arriving at the scene and nodding at Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taixian, Yi Tianzong stood on the other side with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu to guard Li Tsong. Yi Tianzong couldn't help but frown as he watched Li Tsong endure the bolts of lightning. Li Tsong's situation wasn't looking good. He wasn't the only one who had discovered it. Even Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Heavenly Venerate Taixian had discovered it. Li Tsong had comprehended a total of 8 laws of the world, but correspondingly, he would spend even more time in the process of obtaining the origin of laws. He would be struck by even more bolts of lightning, so his injuries would constantly worsen. With Li Tsong's accumulations, he could successfully pass through 7 laws of heaven and earth, but 8 laws of heaven and earth would be more difficult and dangerous. However, in the Empyrean realm, there was no turning back. Once the tribulation began, there was no stopping it. Either one succeeded in becoming a supreme Empyrean, or one died. There was no other choice. Exalted Celestial Myriad Thunder's face became very anxious and unsightly. He clenched his fists tightly and looked at Li Tsong in despair and hope. At this moment, Li Tsong knew that he had miscalculated and was in danger. He had underestimated the difficulty of obtaining the origin of laws and had wasted too much time, causing him to be continuously attacked by 10,000 bolts of heavenly lightning. The injuries on his body were very severe, and if there was no external force, it was almost impossible for him to survive the 81 bolts of heavenly lightning. However, the advancement to Celestial Venerable could not be interfered with by external forces. Otherwise, the power of the heavenly lightning would instantly increase, and at that time, they would die even faster. Yi Tianzong frowned, and then a heavenly sovereign pill appeared in his hand. Although the heavenly sovereign pill had the word sovereign in its name, the grade of the pill was actually between emperor and sovereign. It could increase the chances of the user becoming a celestial venerable by 20%. The heavenly Tao would not target a pill without any vitality or attack power. However, the difficult part was how to give this pill to Li Tsong. When Li Tsong was undergoing his tribulation, the power of the heavenly Tao had formed a barrier around him. Inside the barrier, a sea of lightning was surging. How could a pill withstand the attack of the heavenly lightning? Therefore, Li Tsong could only come to the edge of the barrier. Yi Tianzong gave his idea and the pill to Exalted Celestial Myriad Thunder, then said, "Let's try this as a last resort. In any case, the result can't be worse. With the heavenly Tao barrier, no sound can be transmitted. I don't know if you have a way to inform Li Tsong." Exalted Celestial Myriad Thunder naturally knew this, so he quickly made up his mind. Then, he changed directions and came to the front of Li Tsong, who was undergoing his tribulation. The heavenly Tao barrier was transparent, so Li Tsong and Exalted Celestial Myriad Thunder could see each other. Exalted Celestial Myriad Thunder took out an amethyst life tablet from his yin and yang ring and crushed it. The moment the amethyst life tablet was crushed, Li Tsong immediately spat out a mouthful of blood essence. Then, he suddenly looked in front of him. Then, he saw Exalted Celestial Myriad Thunder anxiously waving at him, as if he wanted him to hurry over. Looking at the heavenly lightning that was still falling from above, Li Tsong knew that he couldn't get through it. So, he simply braved the endless heavenly lightning and went to the edge of the heavenly Tao barrier. After arriving at the edge of the barrier with great difficulty, Li Tsong's body was already fragmented. He was in an extremely dangerous situation. Exalted Celestial Myriad Thunder shouted loudly. At the same time, he approached the edge of the barrier and threw a pill flickering with flowing light into the barrier. Seeing the pill thrown over by Exalted Celestial Myriad Thunder, although Li Tsong didn't understand why, he knew that his master wouldn't harm him. So, he opened his mouth and swallowed the pill that flew into the barrier. After swallowing the pill, Li Tsang felt a mysterious and powerful good fortune force rapidly repair the injuries to his body and soul. At the same time, the Emperor Qi in his body, which had almost been depleted, began to rise rapidly. Fortunately, Li Tsang knew that this was a critical moment, so he suppressed the shock in his heart and began to focus on dealing with the continuous heavenly lightning attacks. With the support of the Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pill, Li Tsang finally survived the heavenly lightning and the heavenly Tao net of law in a severely injured and almost unconscious state. Then, under the illumination of the heavenly Tao good fortune mysterious light, he quickly recovered to his peak state and completed the leap from Great Emperor to Celestial Master. He only needed to condense the Supreme Tao body to become a complete Celestial Master. Li Tsang looked at Yi Tianzong gratefully and said, "Master has already told me that if it weren't for your Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pill, I would have died today. I won't say anything more. If you need my help in the future, just let me know. I won't refuse." Yi Tianzong said with a smile, "You're too serious. Since I ascended, you've been taking care of me. Now that you're in danger, I can't just stand by and watch you die. Our relationship doesn't need to be like this. We still need to protect the human race together." Hearing this, Li Tsang also showed a hearty smile and said, "Haha, good. You're right. Let's protect the human race together." 2 days after Yi Tianzong and the other two returned to the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace, Heavenly Venerate Gu Yu and Heavenly Venerate Tai Xian brought Yu Chun and Yuan Su to the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace. Yi Tianzong immediately knew why they were here. He then said with a smile, "I don't like to beat around the bush. If the two heavenly masters have something to say, just say it." Gu Yu's tone was slightly respectful as he said, "To be honest, we've come to see Heavenly Master Heaven's Expanse mainly for Yu Chun and Yuan Su. Heavenly Master Heaven's Expanse should be able to see that Yu Chun and Yuan Su have also reached the critical point of becoming a Heavenly Master. However, my junior brother and I are really worried about them, so we want to know if you have any more Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pills." Yi Tianzong didn't put on airs and said directly, "The Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pills are very difficult and troublesome to refine. The most important thing is that there are very few materials. In tens of thousands of years, I only have 15 of them. 2 days ago, I gave one to Li Tsang. Yu Chun and Yuan Su have always been on good terms with me. They've helped me a lot in the past. If the two heavenly masters each give me a 500,000-year-old spiritual herb, I'll give you 2 Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pills. What do you think? A 500,000-year-old spiritual herb for a Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pill each. What was the difference between this and giving it away for free? Would a Heavenly Master lack spiritual herbs? How was that possible? Spiritual herbs that could catch their eyes were at least 1,000,000 years old. Who didn't know the value of a Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pill? How could a 500,000-year-old spiritual herb be compared to a Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pill? Looking at the stunned Heavenly Master Gu Yu and Heavenly Master Tai Xian, Yi Tianzong asked with a strange expression, "Why? Do you think it's expensive?" No, we don't think it's expensive. It's just that it's too. Heavenly Master Gu Yu and Heavenly Master Tai Xian wanted to say that it was too cheap. It was like giving it away for free, but they couldn't say it out loud. It was very awkward. Alright then. Here are 2 Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pills. I'll give them to Yu Chun and Yuan Su directly. Give me your spiritual herbs too. Yi Tianzong then took out 2 brilliant divine pills that exuded the aura of creation and gave them to Yu Chun and Yuan Su respectively. Yu Chun and Yuan Su were simply too excited. They didn't expect to get a heaven-defying pill that could help a heavenly master pass the tribulation so easily. They felt like they were dreaming. At this moment, they were incomparably grateful that they had taken care of Yi Tianzong for the sake of Senior Li Tsang. They were also grateful that they had supported Yi Tianzong when Yi Tianzong established a branch of the Heavenly Court. They were also grateful that they had a good relationship with Yi Tianzong. While Yu Chen and Yuan Su were excitedly thanking him, Heavenly Master Gu Yu and Heavenly Master Tai Xian directly grabbed a handful of spiritual herbs that were at least 1,000,000 years old from their Qiankuan rings and handed them to Yi Tianzong without even looking at them. Yi Tianzong didn't care and directly put them away. Then he said, "The 3 Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pills I gave out were only because I have a good relationship with Li Tsang, Yu Chen, and Yuan Su. I hope that the 2 of you can keep it a secret and not reveal the inside story." Heavenly Master Gu Yu and Heavenly Master Tai Xian naturally understood Yi Tianzong's meaning, so they said, "Heavenly Master Heaven's Expanse, don't worry. We will definitely not mention it to outsiders." That's good. Yi Tianzong nodded. After Heavenly Master Gu Yu and the others left, Shen Yu looked at Yi Tianzong and said, "The Heavenly Ascension Supreme Pills in your hands will soon spread throughout the upper echelons of the human race. At that time, there will definitely be many people who will want them. How do you plan to deal with them? That will depend on what price they are willing to pay. Let's see how it goes. After all, we're not the ones who are anxious." Yi Tianzong said indifferently, "Let's not talk about this anymore. We've rested for so long. How about we go out for a walk?" Yi Tianzong asked. "Sure, you decide the time." Chapter 433. Sure enough, in the following month, the other human heavenly venerates and some emperor-level factions came to find Yi Tianzong. They wanted to obtain a sky-piercing supreme pill from Yi Tianzong. Yi Tianzong also made the other heavenly venerates and emperor-level factions pay different prices to obtain the divine pills they wanted. A total of 10 sky-piercing supreme pills were distributed. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu toured the human territory for 30 years before announcing that they were going into seclusion again. In reality, it was Yi Tianzong who controlled the immortal mansion to enter the demon race's territory once again and start stirring up trouble. After 15,000 years, the thieves reappeared in the demon race's territory, which had just calmed down, causing another upheaval in the demon race. Countless demon race factions were visited by Yi Tianzong and the other 2. The resources they had accumulated with great difficulty were once again stolen. Even a large number of their outstanding disciples and juniors were killed. The major factions in the demon race's territory were going crazy. Various Emperor-level and Emperor-level factions formed teams and patrolled every corner of their respective territories, determined to ferret out the thieves. As for the Emperor-level forces and Supreme-level forces that had not had their resources stolen, they went to great lengths to store their resources in many interspatial rings or grotto heavens, and directly wore them on the bodies of the strongest experts in their respective forces. Furthermore, they were heavily guarded and guarded against any attacks. However, all of these efforts were futile in the face of the immortal abode that surpassed everything. Yi Tianzong controlled the Heaven's Expanse immortal abode to find out where all the resources and treasures were hidden. Then, he directly took them. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu were all at least great heavenly venerates, who could react in time to a sudden robbery. As a result, the major factions and powerhouses of the demon race once again learned of the savagery and arrogance of the thieves. They actually dared to rob in broad daylight in front of everyone. The sect masters and grand elders of the major factions were robbed. Even the heavenly venerates of the Supremes were stunned by the sudden robbery and fell victim to it one after another. All the major forces and celestial venerables of the demon clan who had been robbed, and even those who hadn't been stolen or robbed had a common understanding in their hearts, and that was that they had to kill the thief, no matter what. They couldn't let him continue to be so unbridled and rampant. However, Yi Tianzong and the other 2, who had already aroused public anger, didn't feel the slightest sense of danger. Instead, they were happily fighting with the major factions and heavenly venerates of the demon race. Today they would reveal their whereabouts. Tomorrow they would launch a sneak attack on a faction. Then they would kill a few outstanding juniors. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu relied on the immortal mansion as an invincible escape route and treasures to appear and disappear unpredictably in the demon race's territory, turning the situation of the demon race into a complete mess. Last time, Yi Tianzong and the other two had only visited half of the demon race's territory. This time, Yi Tianzong and the other two had spent 10,000 years. Except for the Supreme Holy Lands, most of the Emperor-grade and Supreme-grade factions in the demon race's territory were dragged into the water by Yi Tianzong and the other two. Not only did they lose face, but they also had countless resources stolen. At the same time, because of Yi Tianzong and the other two's instigation, the entire demon race's territory was in a mess. In the end, the supreme heavenly venerates of the demon race couldn't stand it anymore and forcibly intervened to stop the internal strife of the demon race. At the same time, they also joined in the search for the thieves. Supreme heavenly venerates, Yi Tianzong and the other two weren't a match for them. This time, Yi Tianzong didn't want to provoke the Supreme Holy Lands. He temporarily suppressed his desire for revenge and directly attacked the early and middle-stage demon races, heavenly venerate. Those early and middle-stage demon races, heavenly venerates, couldn't last more than a few rounds against Yi Tianzong and the other two's attacks before they were completely killed. Moreover, Yi Tianzong also scattered heaven's secret. Even if a supreme heavenly venerate went back in time, he wouldn't know what had happened. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had wreaked havoc in the demon race's territory for a total of 20,000 years. In addition to obtaining countless resources and treasures, they had killed more than 700 early and middle-stage demon races, heavenly venerates, not to mention the demon race's great emperors. Yi Tianzong had long forgotten how many demon races' great emperors they had killed and how many demon races' cities they had destroyed. In short, all the major forces and heavenly venerates in the demon race's territory had been thoroughly infuriated by Yi Tianzong and the other two's actions. All of them were frantically searching for the thieves. No one knew better than them how much damage the demon race had suffered in just 20,000 years. It was almost as much damage as the Heavenly Saint clan had suffered in a war. Moreover, because of the internal strife of the demon race, the Heavenly Saint clan and the Star Spirit clan, which had recovered for tens of thousands of years, couldn't help but become restless and wanted to start another war. Those supreme heavenly venerates of the demon race are really something. They almost caught us a few times. It's been 20,000 years. It's about time for us to go back. The Heavenly Saint clan and the Star Spirit clan aren't good people either. We can't let them take advantage of us. After this loss, the demon race will be restrained by the Heavenly Saint clan and the Star Spirit clan. They won't be able to care about the human race for the next 100,000 years. Let's go. Yes, even the heaven and earth energy in the demon race's territory has a violent and dark nature. I didn't want to stay there for a long time, Xinyu said. We'll listen to you. Let's go back then, Ling Xinyue looked at Yi Tianzong and said. After Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu left, there were no traces of the thieves for hundreds of years. The demon race finally calmed down. All the demon race's forces and heavenly venerates heaved a long sigh of relief. Then, they shifted their attention to the Heavenly Saint clan and the Star Spirit clan, who were ready to make trouble. After returning to the human race from the demon race's territory, Yi Tianzong, Shen Yu, and Shen Yu once again fell into a busy state. Endless mountains of resources were piled up in the immortal mansion. All the doppelgangers of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu were busy refining pills and refining weapons. The refining of sovereign and supreme divine pills required a lot of time. At most, a few or a dozen pills could be refined each time. Each cauldron of level 7 divine pellets of the God King level only required 3 days to concoct more than 30 pellet. As for the various grades of divine pellets below the God King level, each cauldron took anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. Each cauldron could concoct more than 100 pellet. The three of them and hundreds of doppelgangers stayed in the Immortal Mansion's cultivation area, where time flowed 8 times faster, for 100,000 years. They refined more than 230 billion pills. Among them, there were more than 2 billion pills suitable for Divine King-level experts. There were more than 50 million sovereign-level divine pills suitable for Great Emperor-level experts, and more than 30,000 supreme-level divine pills suitable for heavenly venerates. Ling Xinhua stretched and then leaned into Yi Tianzong's arms as usual. Phew! I'm so tired. On the other side, Shen Yu was also resting on Yi Tianzong's shoulder. For 100,000 years, the three of them and all of their doppelgangers had been refining all kinds of pills and weapons. If it weren't for the fact that the three of them treated this as a way to train their souls, any other heavenly venerate expert would have been driven crazy by the endless monotony. Yi Tianzong looked at the boundless mountain range of resources in the Immortal Mansion and said with some trepidation, "This is really not a job for humans. More than half of the resources are still in the Immortal Mansion. Let's find an opportunity to throw those low-grade resources to the people of the Hao Ranjin sect and Heaven's Expanse Pavilion. Let's only keep the sovereign and supreme level resources. Otherwise, it would be too degrading for us, heavenly venerates, to refine pills for those divine kings and heavenly gods." Shen Yu rolled her eyes at Yi Tianzong and said angrily, "We should have done this long ago. Otherwise, what should we do when we snatch the resources of the Heavenly Saint clan and the Star Spirit clan? I don't want to experience this boring hellish life again and again." "Haha, I didn't think it through. There won't be a next time. Baby, be good," Yi Tianzong said with a smile. "Humph, how shameless," Shen Yu said unhappily. "We haven't seen Qingzhu and the others for a long time. Let's go and see them." Ling Xinhua said. "That's true. We haven't seen them for more than 50,000 years. I wonder how Jiang Chen and Xin Ye's cultivation is going. Let's go and see them," Yi Tianzong suggested. "Sure, we can relax and take a break." "Okay." In the human race's great thousand world of the trial space, in the floating cloud ancient city of the ethereal region, Jiang Chen and Xin Yi, who had been guarding the manor, had both become peak great emperors. The other 25 people had also become late great emperors and mid-great emperors. Chapter 434. When Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinhua, and Shen Yu came out of seclusion, Jiang Chen, Shen Yi, and the others looked at them with excitement. Ling Xinhua and Shen Yu looked at Zili, Meiying, and Qingzhu. They were all peak late-stage great emperors, and all the maids had reached the God-King realm. It seemed that the resources they had left behind were not wasted. The two of them nodded in satisfaction. "Greetings, Master. Congratulations on coming out of seclusion." Jiang Chen, Shen Yi, Zili, Meiying, and Qingzhu took the lead to congratulate Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinhua, and Shen Yu. After the 5 of them, the other servants also loudly congratulated Yi Tianzong and the others. Get up. I've seen your contributions over the years. Next, I'll explain the path of cultivation to you for 100 years. If you have any questions about cultivation, you can ask. We'll start in a month. You can all go and prepare," Yi Tianzong said gently. Jiang Chen, Shen Yi, Zili, Meiying, Qingzhu, and the others were all overjoyed. Among all the forces they knew and had come into contact with, they had never heard of a celestial venerable explaining the secrets of cultivation to a servant. Thus they excitedly said, "Yes, Master. Many thanks for Master's kindness." In the next 100 years, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinhua, and Shen Yu explained the mysteries of cultivation to the servants and answered their questions. After 100 years, everyone's understanding of cultivation had deepened, and many mistakes had been corrected. Jiang Chen, Shen Yi, Zili, Meiying, and Qingzhu once again thanked Yi Tianzong and the others for their kindness. Once one had strength, one would involuntarily want to show it off. Even if one didn't want to show off, there would be all kinds of coincidences that would reveal one's true strength. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinhua, and Shen Yu were now at least great Empyrean level. With their powerful mental state after breaking through the profound heart realm and reaching the mind realm, they naturally didn't want to show off. The mind realm came from the profound heart realm. The profound heart realm was formed from the convergence of the endless sea of the mind into the mind mystic embryo. The mind mystic embryo absorbed endless mysterious energy and reached perfection, giving birth to the mind god. The mind god looked almost exactly the same as the cultivator. The mind god's birth transcended reincarnation and fate. Nothing could change its mind. Even if the world was destroyed, its body into ashes, and its soul shattered, as long as the mind god existed, it would never die. As long as the mind god existed, it would never die. It could reconstruct its soul and reconstruct a new body. To a certain extent, the mind god already possessed a portion of the characteristics of the gods and demons. The minds and the mind Dao had finally, the minds finally, ants and the soul had finally, He Tianzong. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had also just advanced to the mind realm after continuously refining pills and refining weapons for the past 100,000 years. The mind god that had just been born was the size of a baby. By the time the mind god grew to the size of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, it was still far away. Things in the world were just so wonderful. Sometimes, the more you don't want to expose yourself, the more you don't want to show off, but there would always be things that forced you to take action. Just as Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu were leisurely touring the ethereal region, an earth-shattering collision suddenly attracted their attention. Without waiting for them to speak, another series of powerful energy fluctuations spread out. Boundless divine senses poured out, and Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu figured out the situation in the shortest time possible. It turned out that the ethereal region had been attacked by a powerful enemy, and the collision just now was between the ethereal region's heavenly venerables and the enemy. Strange, why did the enemy suddenly attack the ethereal region? Why didn't we know? Yi Tianzong said, puzzled. However, just as he finished speaking, his expression changed slightly, and then he took out a purple gold token from his Qiankuan ring. Heavenly venerate vast expanse, I am heavenly venerate divine blue sky. Now that the ethereal region has been attacked by a powerful enemy, I hope heavenly venerate vast expanse can help defend against the enemy. With just one sentence, the purple gold token stopped moving. Yi Tianzong looked at Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu and said, Heavenly venerate divine blue sky of the ethereal divine sect has asked for our help. Do you think we should help? Don't you have an idea? We'll listen to you. Shen Yu said. You decide. Ling Xinyue said. Alright, we are quite comfortable in the ethereal region. We can't let others destroy our peaceful lives. After Yi Tianzong said that, he tore open the void in front of him and stepped into it. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu followed closely behind and stepped into the spatial passage. In the 9 heavens above the ethereal region, the ethereal divine sect, the ancient azure mysterious sect, and all the heavenly venerables who lived in the ethereal region were engaged in an intense battle with the invading enemy. However, the overall situation of the battle seemed to show that the 13 heavenly venerables of the ethereal region were at an absolute disadvantage. The invading enemy this time was the Tianluo region, the True Brahma region, the Wanhua region, and the Solitary Star region. There were a total of 28 heavenly venerables, and 4 of them were great heavenly venerables. Among the heavenly venerables of the ethereal region, only great heavenly venerate ethereal and great heavenly venerate Qingxian were great heavenly venerate ethereal and great heavenly venerate Qingxian. At this moment, the 2 of them were besieged by 4 great heavenly venerates and were unable to take care of the other heavenly venerables. Great heavenly venerate Fanjin attacked while saying, Ethereal, hand over the 10,000 origin flowing crystal. Otherwise, we'll flatten the ethereal region. That's right. Hand over the 10,000 origin flowing crystal, and we'll retreat. Otherwise, the ethereal region will never have a day of peace and blood will flow like a sea, Great Heavenly Venerate Wanhua said. Dream on. Despicable people who take advantage of others' difficulties. I obtained the 10,000 origin flowing crystal with great difficulty. Who are you to tell me what to do? Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal's expression was cold as he rejected the enemy's threat without hesitation. On the surface, Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal's attitude was tough. In fact, he had not recovered from the injuries he had sustained during the battle with the god race's Great Heavenly Venerate on the world battlefield because of the 10,000 origin flowing crystal. Now that he was besieged by two Great Heavenly Venerates, he would definitely be the one to lose if the stalemate continued. You bunch of dogs. You don't want to improve yourselves and want to take advantage of others' difficulties to obtain treasures. You are simply the scum of the human race. Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian cursed at the enemy while dealing with Great Heavenly Venerate Tianluo and Great Heavenly Venerate Lone Star. The winner takes all. When we become Supreme Heavenly Venerates, who will know or mention this matter? If you know what's good for you, hand over the 10,000 origin flowing crystal, and we can consider letting you off. Great Heavenly Venerate Tianluo replied to Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian without any change in expression. Do you think I will believe such nonsense? Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian said coldly. There's nothing you can do if you don't believe it. Since you didn't cherish the opportunity we gave you, then die. After you die, everyone will know that you stole our 10,000 origin flowing crystal and were killed by us. Great Heavenly Venerate Fanzhen's words directly reversed the facts and made Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal and Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian the despicable ones. You're right. I also think that scum like you don't deserve to live in this world. In that case, please die. A huge spatial door appeared in the sky. Then, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu appeared on the Heavenly Venerate battlefield. How arrogant! Who are you? How dare you? Great Heavenly Venerate Wanhua was annoyed by Yi Tianzong's rude words and was about to reprimand them. However, he hadn't expected that Yi Tianzong and the other two would immediately start fighting. Before he could finish speaking, Yi Tianzong's sword had arrived before him. ****, how is this possible? I am a Great Heavenly Venerate and you are only a late-stage Heavenly Venerate. How can you be a match for me? Great Heavenly Venerate Wanhua was sent flying by Yi Tianzong's sword. Before he could counterattack, Yi Tianzong's barrage of attacks came one after another. Yi Tianzong brandished the huge golden sword that connected the sky and the earth. Great Heavenly Venerate Wanhua couldn't even lift his head and was unable to withstand the onslaught. On the other side, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu were besieging Great Heavenly Venerate Brahmajun. Both of them were outstanding Great Heavenly Venerate. Great Heavenly Venerate Brahmajun was also beaten like a dog and could only defend himself. At the same time, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu also released their past self-bodies, which had reached the good corpse and evil corpse. The past self-bodies, good corpse, and evil corpse possessed all their nomological laws and abilities. Although they weren't as powerful as their main bodies, they still had the strength of a late-stage Heavenly Venerate. As a result, the ethereal region had 9 more late-stage Heavenly Venerates on the Heavenly Venerate battlefield. The situation had suddenly reversed in a few short breaths. Now the ethereal region had the upper hand. The Heavenly Venerates of the Tianluo region, True Brahma Domain, Wanhua Domain, and Solitary Star Domain had fallen into a disadvantageous position. Among all the Heavenly Venerates of the ethereal region, Heavenly Venerate Shunlan of the Ethereal Divine Sect, who had interacted with Yi Tianzong before, looked at Yi Tianzong's group of 3 in shock. He clearly remembered that when they had met more than 200,000 years ago, Yi Tianzong had only been an early-stage Heavenly Venerate. How had he become a late-stage Heavenly Venerate in such a short period of time, and could even suppress great Heavenly Venerates? Also, Were those 9 heavenly venerates their clones? What kind of clones could be so powerful? Can anyone tell me what's going on? Compared to the shocked heavenly venerate Shunlan and the pleasantly surprised ethereal region heavenly venerates, the heavenly venerates of the other 4 regions were completely dumbfounded. They wanted to know what had happened and where this ruthless person had come from to make them experience such a huge drop from heaven to hell. Chapter 435. Great heavenly venerates were indeed worthy of being great heavenly venerate. They stood at the peak of ancient seeking heavenly venerate. Even though Yi Tianzong's strength had surpassed that of a great heavenly venerate, he still couldn't kill a great heavenly venerate in a short period of time. At most, he could severely injure them. If Yi Tianzong had half a day's time, he could have used his powerful strength to obliterate a great heavenly venerate. However, Yi Tianzong didn't want to waste too much time dragging things out. Therefore, after fighting for an hour, Yi Tianzong decided to end the battle quickly when he saw that the enemy heavenly venerate powerhouse was trying to escape. After he sent a voice transmission, he sent great heavenly venerate Wanhua flying with a slash of his sword. On the other side, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu also unleashed their own devastating swordlights to send great heavenly venerate Fanjun flying. Then, the 3 of them immediately used their forbidden mystic ability, Boundless Infinitum, Yin-Yang Fusion. A tricolored beam of light appeared in the void at a speed that no heavenly venerate powerhouse could see. It pierced through space and time. The boundless sky, time, and space couldn't stop the tricolored beam of light. Early-stage heavenly venerates, mid-stage heavenly venerates, late-stage heavenly venerates, and great heavenly venerates were all unable to resist this tricolored beam of light. They were like mortals facing an attack of light. They could only watch helplessly as the tricolored beam of light pierced through their bodies and destroyed their consciousness. What happened? What did we just see? Apart from Yi Tian, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu, all the heavenly venerates of the ethereal region felt like they were in a dream. They simply couldn't react to what they had just experienced. To be more precise, they didn't want to believe it. They didn't want to believe that the strongest heavenly venerates had died so easily. They didn't want to believe that there was such a terrifying forbidden mystic ability in this world. They didn't want to believe that they were so weak. Yi Tianzong and the other 2 recalled their clones. At the same time, they collected the corpses of the dead heavenly venerates before looking at the remaining heavenly venerate. Great Heavenly Master Ethereal forced himself to calm down and said in a hoarse voice, "Thank you for your help, brother. May I know if you—" He didn't know what to say because he still didn't know Yi Tianzong's name. It was extremely awkward. Yi Tianzong smiled and said, "This sovereign is vast expanse. You must be great Empyrean Ethereal. Your sex Empyrean Divine Blue knows this sovereign." This sovereign only rushed over after receiving Empyrean Divine Blue's message. Upon hearing Yi Tianzong's reply, Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal turned his head to look at the dumbfounded blue sky Venerate. The meaning in his eyes was obvious. Why didn't you say that there was such a powerful heavenly venerate earlier? What he didn't know was that blue sky venerable was also like a dream and didn't know what was going on. Haha, now isn't the time to talk. The surrounding 4 regions have joined forces to attack. Now that all the heavenly venerates have fallen, this is a great opportunity. However, this sovereign won't get involved in this matter. You guys can do as you see fit. If there's anything, you can find me in Floating Cloud Ancient City. After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, he gestured to the surrounding heavenly venerates before tearing open the void and leaving with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu. Divine Blue, you know those 3 heavenly venerates? Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal looked at Divine Blue Sky Venerate and asked. At the same time, Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian and the others also looked at Divine Blue Sky Venerate. Divine Blue Sky Venerate opened his mouth and said bitterly, "Sect Master, you actually know them too. 200,000 years ago, One of our disciples in Floating Cloud Ancient City told the sect that he had discovered a heavenly venerate powerhouse. I was in charge of this matter. Later, I met that heavenly venerate who was heavenly venerate vast expanse. However, I only saw him at that time. I didn't expect his 2 wives to also be heavenly venerate. When I first met him, heavenly venerate vast expanse was only at the early stage. I didn't expect him to become a late-stage heavenly venerate in just 200,000 years and be so powerful. This time, I sent him a message with the intention of having one more person. I didn't expect it to be like this. Hearing Divine Blue Sky Venerable's words, everyone fell silent. No one knew what they were thinking. Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian said, "Let's not talk about this for now. Heavenly Venerate Vast Expanse is right. This is a good opportunity. Since the invading Heavenly Venerates from the 4 regions are dead, the 4 regions are defenseless against us. Everyone, go and prepare. We have to occupy as many territories as possible as soon as possible." Qing Xian is right. Go and prepare. How much you can obtain will depend on your own strength and methods, Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal said. After the other Heavenly Venerates left, Qing Xian said to Ethereal, "Let's seize territories first. We'll pay a visit to Heavenly Venerate Vast Expanse after everything is settled." And that's good too. I didn't expect such a powerful character to be hidden in our territory. If it wasn't for the enemy's invasion, we wouldn't have known. Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal sighed. In the following 100 years, all the powerful forces in the ethereal region were mobilized under the lead of the Heavenly Venerate powerhouses. They split into 4 directions and started a war of annexation against the Tianluo region, True Brahma region, Wanhua region, and Guxing region that bordered the ethereal region. When the other large regions around the Tianluo region, True Brahma region, Wanhua region, and Guxing region discovered that the Heavenly Venerate powerhouses in the 4 regions were almost wiped out, and there were only 2 Heavenly Venerates left in each region, they also launched an invasion and annexation of the 4 regions. In 100 years, the forces of the ethereal domain had occupied about 40% of the territory of the surrounding 4 domains. 20% of the territory was occupied by the remaining 2 celestial masters of each of the 4 domains, and the remaining 40% was occupied by the forces of other large domains around the 4 domains. It wasn't that the ethereal region didn't want to occupy more territories, but with the current overall strength of the ethereal region, they could only occupy 40% of the 4 regions at most. Any more and they wouldn't be able to control it. Yi Tianzong and the other 2, who didn't participate in this process, were given a good piece of land in each of the 4 regions that they occupied. This was the result of a discussion among the Heavenly Venerates of the ethereal region. After all, although Yi Tianzong and the other 2 didn't participate or contribute, they had killed most of the Heavenly Venerates in the 4 regions. This was the reason why they were able to occupy such a vast territory so smoothly. Therefore, no matter what, they had to leave a good enough place for Yi Tianzong and the other 2. I didn't expect that they would leave 4 good places for us. Well, it's fine if we don't accept it. We'll accept it, Yi Tianzong said casually to Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal and Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian, who had come to visit. I really didn't expect that Heavenly Venerate Boundless would stay in the small floating cloud ancient city with such strength. However, with a Heavenly Venerate here, the strength of the ethereal region has also increased. We don't have to be afraid of the other regions invading us, Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal said with a smile. Everyone has their own aspirations. I just want to live a simple life. I even left the boundless pavilion to my subordinate. However, things are unpredictable. Since things have already happened, I don't want the ethereal region to be polluted by others and ruin my peaceful cultivation. Therefore, I can only let my enemies die, Yi Tianzong said calmly. As he said that, Yi Tianzong's expression suddenly changed as he thought of the Black Sky sect. The Black Sky sect was the first sect that Yi Tianzong came into contact with after opening the trial space. It was also his starting point. Now, he had just taken over 4 good places, but he was lacking in manpower. He might as well take the Black Sky sect under his command. He believed that the people of the Black Sky sect wouldn't refuse. It was also time to settle some old grudges. Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian saw the change in Yi Tianzong's expression and said, "Heavenly Venerate Boundless, is there something wrong?" Yi Tianzong said, "It's nothing much. I just suddenly thought of some old grudges. I thought of when I was just a divine monarch and was forced to leave my hometown like a stray dog. Now that I think about it, it's been more than 300,000 years. It's time to settle some old grudges." Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal said in surprise, "Oh, a peerless talent like the Heavenly Venerate was actually chased out?" He was very surprised. That supreme faction must have been out of their minds to chase such a peerless talent out of their sect. On the other side, Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian was also in disbelief. Haha, the 2 Heavenly Venerates are overthinking it. Back then, I was just a disciple of an emperor-level faction. Back then, there were only 3 great emperors in the sect. The strongest was only a late-stage great emperor. At that time, I had just become the sect master of the sect when I encountered the 3,000 Regions War. In the end, because my performance was a little outstanding, I attracted the attention of others. Later, in order not to implicate the sect, I could only leave the sect and hide my name. I only came to the ethereal region after I became a peak great emperor, Yi Tianzong said casually. Chapter 436. After Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal and Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian left, Yi Tianzong found Ling Xinyu and Shen Yu and told them about his idea, which they agreed with. There was no time to lose. The 3 of them didn't delay. After making their decision, they immediately set off. The Greater Thousand World of the human race was a super Greater Thousand World. It was so vast that even a Heavenly Venerate powerhouse would find it difficult to explore its limit. The 3,000 Great Domains were only a part of the land in the human race's Greater Thousand World. Other than the 3,000 Great Domains, there were also extremely large wild and dangerous regions. The Ethereal Domain and Taiyuan Domain were separated by an endless distance, but for powerhouses like Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyu, and Shen Yu, who were at least Great Heavenly Venerates, it would only take them a month to cross the distance. The Black Heaven sect of the Taiyuan Domain. On this day, everyone in the Black Heaven sect was practicing their daily cultivation. However, right above the mountain gate of the Black Heaven sect, a spatial gate that connected the heavens and the earth appeared. The huge spatial gate rippled with a vast amount of energy and instantly spread across millions of miles of heaven and earth. The huge commotion attracted the attention of everyone in the Black Heaven sect. The upper echelons of the Black Heaven sect all appeared and looked at the spatial door in shock. Even the 6 great emperors of the Black Heaven sect who had been in seclusion appeared one after another to see the change in the sky. This is the arrival of a Heavenly Venerate, and not just any Heavenly Venerate. The Black Heaven sect's strongest ancestor, who was now a peak great emperor, said with a trembling voice, "What? A Heavenly Venerate? What is a Heavenly Venerate doing in our Black Heaven sect? The Almighty Heavenly Venerate. Did we offend a Heavenly Venerate in some way? Is the Heavenly Venerate here to cause trouble for us? No way. How could we have offended a Heavenly Venerate?" While everyone in the Black Heaven sect was nervous, fearful, and worried, the huge spatial door finally opened. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyu, and Shen Yu walked out of the spatial door. Leader Yi Tianzong and Sect Master Yi were called out by many people in the Black Heaven sect. Yi Tianzong said calmly, "Long time no see." Next, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyu, and Shen Yu walked into the mysterious Heaven Great Hall under the respectful welcome of everyone in the mysterious Heaven sect. When Yi Tianzong revealed his cultivation base and the purpose of his visit, Everyone from the Black Heaven sect agreed to join Yi Tianzong, without exception. With 3 Empyrean powerhouses backing them, only a fool wouldn't agree. What's more, Yi Tianzong had already told them that before coming here, he had already wiped out all the Emperor-level and Supreme-level factions that he had a grudge with. As for the Black Heaven sect's foundation in the Taiyuan domain, it was fine to throw it away. Yi Tianzong had already said that there would be better territory for them in the ethereal domain. Just like that, the entire Black Heaven sect smoothly became Yi Tianzong's subordinate force. In the next 10 years, everyone who was willing to leave with the Black Heaven sect made preparations and took care of everything. When the 10 years had passed, Yi Tianzong kept everyone in his inner world and then returned to the ethereal domain with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 years had passed. The Black Heaven sect had already gained a firm foothold in the ethereal domain. With Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu as their backers, no faction in the ethereal domain was stupid enough to find trouble with the Black Heaven sect. On the contrary, countless Emperor-level factions had established friendly relations with the Black Heaven sect. Because of this, the Black Heaven sect had developed rapidly. After Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had rested enough, they announced that they would go into closed-door cultivation. They then left behind a consciousness clone and left the trial space, returning to the great 1,000 worlds of the myriad tribes. After coming out of closed-door cultivation, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu immediately took out countless divine pills and weapons and handed them to their consciousness clones. Then, they asked their clones to deal with everything within 10,000 years. At the same time, the 3 of them also began to deal with some matters within the scope of their responsibilities, such as inspecting the situation in the human domain and looking for foreign tribe spies. The various factions and powerhouses of the human domain once again welcomed a carnival. In all the fortresses and cities under Yi Tianzong's command, a large number of divine pills of various grades appeared in the Heaven's Expanse Pavilion. Moreover, in the Heaven's Expanse Pavilion's headquarters in the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace, there were Supreme Godly Soul Pills, Supreme Heavenly Origin Pills, and Supreme Body Source Pills that were suitable for heavenly venerable powerhouses to consume. Now, within the human domain, there were countless fortresses and cities. The various factions were also building their cities and garrisons according to the Heaven's Expanse Pavilion's soaring cloud-level and sky suppression-level battle fortresses. It could be said that the entire human domain's foundation, defensive capabilities, and mobilizing forces had increased by more than 100 times compared to before. Before Yi Tianzong came out of closed-door cultivation, the human domain's overall strength had already surpassed the peak strength of tens of thousands of years ago before the war with the foreign tribes broke out. Now that Yi Tianzong came out of closed-door cultivation, the human domain's strength once again welcomed a rapid increase. In the next 10,000 years, due to the various king-grade, emperor-grade, and supreme-grade divine pills that Yi Tianzong and the other 2 brought out, the human domain's godly kings and great emperors emerged one after another. Even some heavenly venerable powerhouses had advanced. After 10,000 years, the number of human domain's great emperors had exceeded 1,000,000, and the number of godly kings was innumerable. Even the number of heavenly venerable powerhouses had increased from 10,000 years ago to 27. This was largely due to the help of the supreme elixir that Yi Tianzong had refined. On this day, all the human domain's heavenly venerable powerhouses had gathered in the central heavenly palace of the central heavenly court. Supreme Heavenly Venerable Void was also present in the highest position of the heavenly palace's treasure hall. This time, there is only one purpose for gathering all of you here, and that is to take revenge and take back the territories that the human domain has lost. Do you have any suggestions? Supreme Heavenly Venerable Void made his decision. Obviously, the matter of revenge had already been decided. They had to fight. Now, what they needed now was suggestions that would allow the human domain to succeed more smoothly and with less losses, not whether to fight or not. Great Heavenly Venerable Xingyang said, although the demon race has some internal strife due to unknown reasons and is being pressured by the Heavenly Saint clan and the Star Spirit clan, the strength and history of the demon race far surpass that of the human race. Even if we are much stronger, it is not appropriate for us to start a conflict with the demon race. What we need now is a wider territory and a greater providence to allow the human race to slowly grow stronger. Therefore, I suggest that we start with the ancient Elephant clan and the Purple Spirit clan. Yi Tianzong said, I also agree. Although the ancient Elephant clan and the Purple Spirit clan are not weak, they don't have any supreme heavenly venerables. It will be much easier to deal with these two clans than the Blood Demon clan. The Silver Moon clan is backed by the Spirit Restriction Perilous Land, so we still need them to act as a buffer between us and the Perilous Land. Also, I think that the Blood Demon clan also needs to send a powerful force to guard against them. Great Heavenly Venerable Xingyang and Heavenly Venerable Vast Expanse, the two strongest Heavenly Venerables below the Supreme Heavenly Venerables, had spoken. The rest of the matter naturally evolved into how to send troops, who to send, which forces to attack which clans, and so on. Following the decision of all the Heavenly Venerables of the human race, orders were sent from the Central Heavenly Court to all the branches of the Heavenly Court and the entire human race's territory. This time, the human race planned to mobilize most of their forces to attack the ancient Elephant clan and the Purple Spirit clan, while the Devil race was dealing with the Heavenly Saint clan and the Star Spirit clan with all their might. They wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. Not only did they want to take back the territory that the human race had lost, but they also wanted to attack the territories of these two clans. The entire human race was preparing in full swing. Countless war fortresses and sky patrol battleships carried hundreds of millions of heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals to the human race's border through the void teleportation array. The various major factions of the human race also sent experts to lead teams to the human race's border in huge fortresses and cities. At the border of the human race, the ancient Elephant clan and the Purple Spirit clan, the endless human race army looked at the distant border with murderous intent. They looked at the foreign race army beyond the border. The border, which had been erupting with all kinds of conflicts, was now filled with an extremely oppressive and heavy atmosphere. Chapter 437. High above the misty clouds, the humans were confronting the heavenly venerables of the ancient Elephant race and the Purple Spirit race. The atmosphere was tense. Although the ancient Elephant race and the Purple Spirit race did not have any supreme heavenly venerables, they still had great heavenly venerables. The two races had a total of 15 heavenly venerables, 2 great heavenly venerables, 5 late-stage heavenly venerables, and the remaining 8 early-stage and mid-stage heavenly venerables. This time, the humans had sent a total of 11 heavenly venerables to attack the ancient Elephant race and the Purple Spirit race. They were led by Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu. The remaining 16 heavenly venerables were on guard against the movements of the Devil race, the Blood Demon race, and the Cracking Gold race. The great heavenly venerables of the ancient Elephant race glared at the humans and asked loudly, "Humans, are you going to break the oath and invade our two races?" Yi Tianzong sneered and said, Your ancient Elephant race and Purple Spirit race have been provoking conflicts with our human race at the border all these years. You were the ones who broke the oath first. Now, our human race only wants to take back the territory that you have invaded. Cut the crap. Today is the day you die." After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, he did not waste any time. He directly joined forces with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu and executed a forbidden divine ability together. A tricolored beam of light that passed through the cycle of time and space instantly took away a total of 7 late-stage and great heavenly venerables from the ancient Elephant race and the Purple Spirit race. When Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu appeared again, There were only 8 heavenly venerables left from the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race. At this moment, they were already scared out of their wits. "Don't let a single one of them go. Kill." Yi Tianzong's cold voice echoed between heaven and earth. The other 8 heavenly venerables of the human race looked at Yi Tianzong and the other 2 in awe. Then, they charged toward the heavenly venerables of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race with confidence that they would win. It just so happened that each of them was up against one, no more, no less. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu didn't attack again. They just watched the Empyreans fight. With their strength, it wouldn't be difficult for them to kill these mid-stage and early-stage Empyreans, but the other Empyreans also needed to fight to prove their worth. The 3 of them only needed to ensure that none of the foreign race Empyreans escape. When the battle between the celestial venerables broke out in the distant sky, the battle on the ground also broke out. After more than 50,000 years of careful preparation, the human race had demonstrated its absolute strength. Numerous huge war fortresses and countless sky patrol battleships covered the vast and boundless sky like a swarm of bees as they launched an all-out attack on the territories of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race. On the ground, countless heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals formed various battle formations and charged into the armies of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race, erupting into an earth-shattering battle with the alien army. At the same time, the great emperors of the human race, the ancient elephant race, and the purple spirit race also flew into the sky, erupting into an earth-shattering great emperor battle hundreds of thousands of kilometers in the sky. Every minute and every second, countless living beings of the human race, the ancient elephant race, and the purple spirit race died. Godly kings and great emperors seemed so insignificant in this battle that involved the 3 races. In this life-and-death battle where there was no retreat, they fell like raindrops on the battlefield. The sun and moon lost their light and heaven and earth wailed. A cold and bloody wind blew across the border for hundreds of billions of kilometers, adding even more killing and desolation to this racial war. Yi Xianlin was one of the marshals of the attack on the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race this time. Under Yi Tianzong's vigorous nurturing, Yi Xuanlin's true strength had already become a veritable sovereign venerable of the human race. All he lacked was a title. This time, Yi Xianlin led the 15 billion soldiers of the entire Heavenly Court branch to participate in the battle. However, unlike the other branches of the Heavenly Court, the 15 billion soldiers of the Heavenly Court under Yi Xuanlin's command all rode on battle fortresses and sky patrol battleships to fight the enemy. They didn't engage in close combat with the enemy. A total of 4 cosmic-level battle fortresses, 20 space-level battle fortresses, and 500 space-level sky patrol battleships formed a powerful attack formation, becoming the vanguard of the human race's attack on the ancient elephant race. Like an invincible and unstoppable sword, they directly tore apart the ancient elephant race's defense line and rampaged through the ancient elephant race's army, killing countless enemies. The human army, all the fortresses, and battleships followed closely behind, expanding the battle results and breaking more of the ancient elephant race's defense line. In the face of the powerful strength of the human race, the defense line that the ancient elephant race had prepared with all their strength was easily torn apart. Then, they were attacked from both the sky and the ground. Under the destructive attacks of the human army, battleships, and fortresses, countless ancient elephant race creatures were reduced to ashes. On the other side, the purple spirit race's defense line was also quickly broken under the attack of countless human battleships and fortresses. Then, the human army launched the most powerful attack, breaking more of the purple spirit race's defense line and rushing into the territory of the purple spirit race. In the misty sky, the battle between the celestial venerables of the human race and the celestial venerables of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race also revealed a clear situation. Under the might of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, the celestial venerables of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race had no chance of escaping. Knowing that they were going to die, the celestial venerables of the two races completely let go of their hopes of getting lucky and turned to fight the human celestial venerables with all their might. They even didn't hesitate to self-detonate and perish together with the human celestial venerables. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu stopped the self-detonation of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race's celestial venerables in time. None of the foreign race's celestial venerables succeeded in self-detonating. In the end, these foreign race celestial venerables were all killed by the human celestial venerables. At this time, a full 3 days and 3 nights had passed. With all the celestial venerables of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race dead, the human race no longer had any scruples. The only thing left was to eliminate all resistance and occupy the territory of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race. I'll stay behind to watch the battle. You guys go to the territories of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race respectively and see if there are any forces that can threaten the army. If there are, eliminate them. If not, come back, Yi Tianzong said to the other 8 human celestial venerables. Yes, we'll go now. The other 8 human celestial venerables did not decline. They directly split into 2 groups and headed to the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race respectively. The celestial venerables of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race had all died in battle. The 2 races no longer had the hope and strength to resist the human race. Under the overwhelming attack of the human army, they were defeated all the way. As for the human army and powerhouses, they marched straight in and started a monstrous massacre in the territories of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race. From the start of the war to the end, in just 10 years, the human race had completely occupied all the territories of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race, causing the human race's territory to expand by more than 1/3. The battle ended too quickly. Under the deterrence of the human celestial venerables, the blood demon race did not have time to interfere at all. They could only watch as the human race's territory expanded once again. In the central heavenly court of the human race, all the human celestial venerables were gathered here. The supreme heavenly venerate of the void sat in the center of the heavenly palace's treasure hall and said in a light tone, "This time, after quickly occupying the territories of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race, our human race will have more resources and providence. In the following time, we have to completely digest the results of this battle and temporarily stop waging war against the outside world." None of the celestial venerables had any objections to the supreme heavenly venerate of the void's words. This time, the human race's territory had expanded by more than 1/3. Everyone was more concerned about how to divide their territories. After some discussion, half of the territories of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race would be taken back by the heavenly court as the territory of the new celestial venerables of the human race. The remaining half would be divided among the 26 celestial venerables of the human race. Among them, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had the power to kill a Grand Empyrean. They had contributed the most in this battle, so they were given the largest and best territory. In the following time, the human race fell into a state of silence. They calmed down and digested the territories of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race, converting more resources and providence into strength. After Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu arranged everything, they also entered the immortal mansion to enter seclusion and comprehend the mysteries of the laws of heaven and earth with all their might. The stars, frost, wind, and dew accumulated over the years. 30,000 years passed just like that. At this moment, the human race had already digested the enormous resources and providence brought by occupying the territories of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race. The number of great emperors in the heavenly court alone had exceeded 600,000, and the number of great emperors in the entire human race had reached more than 4 million. In these 30,000 years, 4 new celestial venerables had advanced, and the number of celestial venerables in the human race had reached 31. Chapter 438. Everything in the human race was developing in a good direction. The number of powerhouses continued to increase, and the overall strength of the human race was increasing bit by bit. In the 30,000 years in the myriad race's great thousand world, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu spent 240,000 years in the immortal mansion's cultivation area. Under the laws of the myriad race's great thousand world manifested in the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu comprehended with all their might. When they were done cultivating, the 3 of them would enter the trial space's realm battlefield to fight against Empyrean powerhouses from various large worlds or to search for origin crystals and resource veins. Under the cycle of fighting, searching for treasures, and comprehending laws, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu's cultivation speed didn't slow down. Instead, they progressed rapidly. After more than 200,000 years in the immortal mansion, the 3 of them had reached the peak of the late-stage Empyrean realm and were only 1 step away from breaking through to the great Empyrean realm. Another 10,000 years passed in a flash, and the human race in the myriad race's great thousand world gained another 2 Empyrean powerhouses. The number of human race Empyreans reached 33. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, who were still in closed-door cultivation in the vast expanse immortal mansion, had successfully broken through to the great heavenly venerate realm in the past 80,000 years. They had also used the large primordial crystal lode they found in the heavenly venerate area of the world battlefield to complete the 9 revolutions of the mysterious art and the 9 revolutions of the heaven origin mystic technique. After becoming a great Empyrean and completing the 9 revolutions of their respective secret techniques, Yi Tianzong had the battle prowess of a supreme Empyrean, while Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu had reached the threshold of a supreme Empyrean's strength. After the 3 of them had completely adapted to their respective realms and fought against the great Empyreans and supreme Empyreans of various large worlds, the 9 revolutions of the mysterious art and 9 revolutions of the sky origin secret techniques combined into one. Their strength had once again increased by 9 times. Yi Tianzong had taken a huge step forward in his strength of a supreme Empyrean, while Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu had the strength to challenge a supreme Empyrean realm. The 3 of them had also severed their self-bodies. The harvest of hundreds of thousands of years of cultivation was huge. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu relaxed in the ethereal region of the human race's great thousand world for a few thousand years before coming out of seclusion and returning to the heavens expanse heavenly palace of the myriad race's great thousand world. After coming out of seclusion, Yi Tianzong learned about the current situation of the human race from his doppelganger. After learning that everything was fine and that the human race was still developing in an orderly manner, Yi Tianzong did not pay too much attention to it. In comparison, he was more concerned about his father and the others who were about to become Empyreans. With the support of Yi Tianzong regardless of the cost and the training in the world battlefield in the Holy Realm Mansion, Yi Haoran, Su Mingxin, Yi Haoyun, Ziyun Xian, Yi Yuanshan, Li Qingya, Li Qingshi, and Yi Xianlin, a total of 8 people, all had the strength and foundation to become Empyreans. Yi Tianzong brought Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu to the Hao Ranjin sect and met Yi Haoran and the others. After a detailed discussion, Yi Haoran and the others decided to become Empyreans in the next 1,000 years. Yi Xianlin would continue to wait until Yi Tianyu and Yi Xianchen grew stronger. Yi Tianyu was Yi Tianzong's younger brother, while Yi Xianchen was Yi Xuanlin's younger brother. The 2 of them had been born for more than 40,000 years and were extremely talented. With countless resources and training in the world battlefield, they were now powerful existences in the late Great Emperor realm. They had comprehended 13 kinds of worldly laws and their strength surpassed most peak great emperors. Under the protection of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, Yi Haoran, Su Mingxin, and the others all successfully passed the Empyrean lightning tribulation and became new Empyreans. At the same time, the Yi family also became the most legendary and powerful supreme family in the entire human race. A total of 10 Empyreans were born, especially the 3 great Empyreans, Empyrean Vast Expanse and Empyrean Twin Moons. Yi Haoran and the others had all advanced to the Empyrean realm. The Hao Ranjin sect was renamed the Haoran Celestial Sect and became the most powerful supreme sect in the human race. Countless human race geniuses felt honored to join the Haoran Celestial Sect. On this day, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu were leisurely living a warm and comfortable life in the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace. Suddenly, a grand and majestic aura of extreme yang came over. Yi Tianzong focused slightly, and then Great Empyrean Xingyang walked in under the guidance of the Heavenly Palace's Divine General. "Oh, it's Xingyang. Please take a seat. May I know why you are here today?" Yi Tianzong said casually. Great Empyrean Xingyang did not stand on ceremony and directly sat on a chair in the Heavenly Palace's main hall. "Then," he said, "I came to find you this time to ask if you still have any sky-piercing supreme elixirs. My disciple, Jiu Yang, has accumulated almost all of them. However, just in case, I still want to make some more preparations. I still have some sky-piercing supreme elixirs. How about this? You can give me some million-year-old spiritual herbs. Here, take them." After saying that, Yi Tianzong threw a divine elixir that was overflowing with radiance and fragrance at Great Empyrean Xingyang. "Then I won't stand on ceremony. I will remember this favor. I have no use for these spiritual herbs, so I'll give them all to you." Great Empyrean Xingyang directly threw a Qiankuan ring to Yi Tianzong. Inside it were all million-year-old spiritual herbs. There were more than 3,000 of them. "Hey, you really put in a lot of effort. It just so happens that I have an idea to discuss with you. The interval between the Emperor battle of the human race is too long. I want to reduce it to once every 20,000 years. Also, I want to change the rules. In the battle of the strongest Emperor battle that occurs once every 20,000 years, in addition to the strongest Emperor, I want to establish 4 more Emperor Sovereigns and 8 Emperor Lords. Each Emperor Sovereign and Emperor Lord will have a total of 13 spots. These 13 people will each get a sky-piercing supreme elixir. The strongest Emperor Sovereign will get 2. In addition, these 13 people can either hold office in the heavenly court or establish a force with the help of the human race. It will be the same as the authority of the Emperor Sovereign in the past. In the future, the human race will conquer more races and have more vast territories. We will need to cultivate more capable people to control the situation. What do you think?" Great Empyrean Xingyang thought for a moment and felt that this proposal was very good. He immediately agreed. "Your proposal is good, but you can't pay for the sky-piercing supreme elixir yourself. After all, this is a matter for the entire human race. How about this? We can let the Heavenly Court purchase the sky-piercing supreme elixir on our behalf. This way you won't have to suffer any losses. What do you think?" "I don't care. It's settled then. Let's inform the other Celestial Venerables and the Supreme Celestial Venerables. After all, this needs to be decided by everyone." "Okay, I'll inform them now." The next day, a total of 40 celestial venerables of the human race gathered in the central palace of heaven. Supreme Celestial Venerable Void looked at Yi Tianzong and Great Empyrean Xingyang and asked, "Haomiao, Xingyang, why did you call for a meeting of the Celestial Venerables?" Yi Tianzong said directly, "Supreme Celestial Venerable, I have discussed with Great Empyrean Xingyang, and we feel that." After Yi Tianzong told them what had happened, the human race celestial venerables in the Palace of Heaven thought about it and felt that this proposal was good. They all agreed. Great Empyrean Xingyang said, "I agree with Haomiao's proposal, but this is a matter for the entire human race. I don't think Haomiao should be the only one to bear the responsibility for the sky-piercing supreme elixir. I suggest that the heavenly court purchase the sky-piercing supreme elixir refined by Haomiao and reward one of the 4 emperors and 8 emperors in the name of the human race. This method works. Celestial Venerable Wanlei expressed his agreement. Celestial Venerable Guyu and Celestial Venerable Taixian also expressed their agreement. Finally, Supreme Celestial Venerable Void said, "In that case, it's decided. The previous Battle of Emperors will be changed to the Battle of Great Emperors. It will be held once every 20,000 years. The first one will be held 3,000 years later. Let the human race know about this." Yes, all the Celestial Venerables answered. In the following month, a decision about the Battle of Great Emperors spread throughout the human race's territory from the heavenly court. After all the peak Great Emperors saw the news, especially the sky-piercing supreme elixir that could increase the chances of becoming a celestial venerable, their fighting spirit and ambition exploded in their hearts. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger looked at Yi Xianlin and asked, "Do you have any thoughts about the Battle of Great Emperors 3,000 years later?" Yi Xianlin said with a relaxed expression, "Tianyu and Xianqin will be enough. By then, with their strength, there are almost no great emperors of the human race who can match them. I won't get involved." Chapter 439. Time flew by and 3,000 years passed by very quickly. The first great emperor battle had also decided all the participants. Both Yi Tianyu and Yi Xianqin had participated in the Battle of the Great Emperors. They had defeated all the peak Great Emperors of the human clan with their peak late Great Emperors. In the end, they had a great battle. Yi Tianyu won Yi Xianqin by a narrow margin and became the sovereign emperor of the human clan, while Yi Xianqin became the emperor of the human clan. On top of that, there were 2 other peak martial monarchs from the Hao Ran sect. They had also won 2 emperor positions. This time, Yi Tianyu, Yi Xianqin, and the 2 great emperors from Haoran Divine sect showed all the forces of the human clan how powerful the Yi clan and Haoran Divine sect were. The strength of Yi Tianyu and Yi Xianqin only meant that Yi Tianzong and the other heavenly masters of the Yi clan were willing to sacrifice a lot. The other 2 great emperors from Haoran Divine sect were also strong, which proved that the divine sect of the Haoran Divine sect was really good at teaching their disciples. They deserved to be called the strongest supreme sect. After the 4 sovereigns and 8 emperors were decided, there were 2 more heavenly court marshals and 2 new heavenly court divisions. Yi Tianyu took over Yi Xuanlin's position. In addition, the other 8 great emperors also established their own inheritances with the help of the human clan. The 2 peak great emperors from Haoran Divine sect continued to stay in Haoran Divine sect. With a wider territory, the human clan's population increased greatly. There were more and more cultivators, and the human clan's power gradually increased. Time passed year after year, and the entire human race was preparing for the next war. It had been more than 25,000 years since the first great emperor competition. The human race held another great emperor competition. This time, the Haoran Divine sect won 1 emperor and 2 monarchs. The sovereign spot was won by an ancient peak great emperor who was half a step into the Empyrean realm. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu walked out of the immortal mansion. They had been in seclusion for over 20,000 years. Over 200,000 years had passed in the immortal mansion, and the 3 of them had taken a small step forward in their comprehension of the laws of heaven and earth. They had almost reached 97%, and their strength had also increased by around 2-fold. Now it has become. Just as they walked out of seclusion, Yi Tianzong trio received a notice that the human race Empyrean assembly was going to be held. When they arrived at the central celestial palace, the 46 celestial venerables of the human race were all present. Yi Xianlin had also become the Lord of Heaven of the celestial court. After the supreme heavenly venerate of the void appeared, he did not beat around the bush. He directly stated the purpose of gathering everyone, which was to start a war against the blood demon race. The blood demon race and the human race had a deep-seated hatred since ancient times. A long time ago, when the human race was weak, the blood demon race had always treated the human race as food. In the process of the human race's rise, the blood demon race had done many things to stop the rise of the human race. Now that the human race's strength had surpassed the blood demon race in all aspects, it was naturally impossible for the blood demon race to continue living. This was not only for revenge, but also to fight for more living space and resources. The blood demon race used to be a powerful race second only to the human race. They had a supreme heavenly venerate. This time, we can't be careless when we attack the blood demon race. We have to end the battle quickly with absolute strength. Things are different now. After we occupied the territories of the ancient elephant race and the purple spirit race, our borders are already connected to other powerful races. If we don't get rid of the blood demon race quickly this time, the other races will definitely take advantage of the situation and attack us together, Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang said with a solemn expression. All the human heavenly venerables in the central celestial palace fell silent when they heard this. What Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang said made sense. There was a huge difference between a race having a supreme heavenly venerate and not having one. A supreme heavenly venerate was the strongest existence in the world. They wielded the authority of the world and transcended the long river of fate. They could be sealed or they could die from exhaustion after being besieged for a long time by experts of the same level. However, the true spirit imprint of a supreme heavenly venerate was deeply engraved in the long river of time and space. If the true spirit imprint was not completely erased, the supreme heavenly venerate would be resurrected one day and make a comeback. It was impossible to kill a supreme heavenly venerate in a short period of time in a one-on-one battle unless there was a taboo power that surpassed the heavens and earth. Coincidentally, Yi Tianzong and the other two, who already had the strength of a supreme heavenly venerate, would really have the power to kill a supreme heavenly venerate once they used the taboo mystic ability, Boundless Infinitum, Yin-Yang Fusion. Yi Tianzong pondered for a moment and felt a gaze staring at him. When he looked up, Yi Tianzong realized that the supreme heavenly venerate of the void was looking at him. Then, he heard the supreme heavenly venerate of the void ask, Boundless Infinitum, are you guys confident? As soon as this was said, all the heavenly venerates in the hall looked at Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu. Yi Tianzong did not know why the supreme heavenly venerate of the void would ask such a question. However, given his current strength and status, he did not need to worry about the taboo of the tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. After all, he had already matured and possessed the strength to protect himself. Yes, he won't be able to come out and stir up trouble for tens of millions of years. Yi Tianzong's faint but clear voice reverberated in the vast hall of the Sky Palace. At the same time, an aura that far surpassed that of a great heavenly venerate flashed past, causing great waves in the hearts of all the heavenly venerate powerhouses. Well, in that case, I'll leave the supreme heavenly venerate of the blood demon race to you guys. You must not let him escape. Xingyang, you will assist the Boundless Infinitum in leading the other heavenly venerates in attacking the blood demon race this time, the supreme heavenly venerate of the void said after some consideration. Yes, we definitely won't let him escape, Yi Tianzong said firmly. Yes, Xingyang, the great heavenly venerate of the void replied solemnly. After the heavenly venerate conference, the human race had already made up their minds to attack the blood demon race. Orders to prepare for war had been passed from the central heavenly court to all the large and small forces of the human race. The spies of the blood demon race among the human race had also sent news of the human race's movements back to the blood demon race. The entire blood demon race had been mobilized to prepare for war. How exactly did you cultivate? It has only been a few 100,000 years, yet your strength has already surpassed mine. This is really incredible. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang looked at Yi Tianzong and sighed. If you want to know, I'll tell you, Yi Tianzong said with a smile. Forget it. Probing into other people's cultivation secrets is a big taboo. I don't want to become that kind of person. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang shook his head indifferently. He was just saying. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu's strength had increased so quickly that it was impossible not to be curious. However, there were some things that couldn't be probed. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang had only asked casually. He hadn't really wanted Yi Tianzong to tell him. However, he realized that Yi Tianzong didn't seem to be joking. You can't be serious, right? Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang stuttered. Do I look like I'm joking? Yi Tianzong said seriously. You really want to tell me? Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang felt his heart beating really fast this time. I can't tell you now. I'm still fumbling around. I can only tell you after I become a Supreme Heavenly Venerate and verify its validity, Yi Tianzong said. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang asked in horror. You mean that you have created a cultivation method that can allow you to quickly become a Supreme Heavenly Venerate? You're already on the verge of success? Yi Tianzong smiled but didn't say anything. However, this meant that he had tacitly agreed. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang really couldn't stay calm this time. He thought about how many years it had taken him to become a Great Heavenly Venerate from the initial stage of the Heavenly Venerate realm. It had been more than 30 million years, and he had been a Great Heavenly Venerate for more than 7 million years. Yi Tianzong had only used a few years to become a Heavenly Venerate and become a Great Heavenly Venerate in less than 500,000 years. How big was the gap between them? He wanted to know more but didn't know what to say. Thus, he left the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace absent-mindedly. All he could think about was Yi Tianzong's unfathomable calm expression. As time passed, the human race deployed an endless army of the heavenly courts at the border with the blood demon race. Countless war fortresses and sky patrol battleships flew in the sky, blocking out the sun. On the other side, an endless army of the blood demon race was also deployed at the border. In the sky, the heavenly venerates of the human race and the blood demon race were already confronting each other. There were a total of 11 heavenly venerates from the blood demon race, including the Supreme Heavenly Venerate. On the other hand, there were 23 heavenly venerates from the human race attacking the blood demon race. The remaining heavenly venerates were guarding against the other races that bordered the human race's territory. Chapter 440. The Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Blood Demon Tribe was a rainbow divine vermilion bird. It controlled the essences of the 5 elements and life and death. Its most powerful ability was the Rainbow Divine Light, which was extremely powerful. The Rainbow Divine Vermilion Bird looked at Yi Tianzong and said, "Where is that old bastard Su Kong? Why are there only 4 great heavenly venerates? Do you think you can stop me?" Yi Tianzong's expression remained unchanged as he said, "There is no need for the human race's supreme heavenly venerates to deal with you. I alone am enough. However, in order to reduce the casualties of the human race, I can only ask you to hurry up and die. Attack." Yi Tianzong never wasted words with his enemies, and it was no different this time. He immediately launched an attack. The boundless heavenly sword slashed down toward the Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Blood Demon Tribe with the power to annihilate space and time. After Yi Tianzong attacked, Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu also attacked. The two of them split up and circled behind the Rainbow Divine Vermilion Bird. They coordinated with Yi Tianzong to unleash their own divine swords. The Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Blood Demon Tribe's expression changed drastically as soon as Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu launched their attack. He could sense lethal danger from their attacks, and he found it hard to believe that they were only great heavenly venerates. However, there was no time for the Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Blood Demon Tribe to be shocked. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had sealed off all his paths of retreat. The divine swords were already right in front of him, and he could only face them head-on. An earth-shattering cry erupted, and the rainbow divine vermilion bird instantly swelled to over 100 times its original size. Then, a rainbow divine light flashed around its body as countless streaks of light illuminated the heavens, forming 3 glazed divine light swords that clashed with the countless sword projections unleashed by Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu. When the 2 swords collided, a world-destroying energy burst out. Space cracks that were hundreds of meters wide appeared between heaven and earth. The destructive space turbulence disrupted the order of heaven and earth. As Yi Tianzong's words fell, the aura on Yi Tianzong's body suddenly increased by several times. An invincible aura swept through the heavens and the earth. The blade of the boundless heavenly sword erupted with a golden divine light that resembled a bright sun. It expanded to 30,000 feet, and endless nomological laws entwined around the golden divine sword. As Yi Tianzong swung down, it was as if there were countless Yi Tianzongs swinging their swords in the eternal spacetime. Then, an endless amount of power gathered in the heaven-shaking divine sword. The spacetime shattered, and the heavens and the earth shook. No power could stop the trajectory of the divine sword. At this moment, the blood demon tribe's supreme heavenly venerate only felt an inescapable sense of crisis envelop his entire body. He was shocked to discover that he was no match for this human first heavenly venerate. At the same time, 2 more supreme auras that were only more powerful than his appeared behind him. 2 world-destroying powers sealed off the space around him and cut off all his paths of retreat. They then slashed toward him at a speed that transcended spacetime. The rainbow divine vermilion bird let out a shrill cry as a layer of crimson light spread from its body to a radius of over 1,000 feet. Faced with such a perilous situation, the blood demon tribe's supreme heavenly venerate directly ignited his own blood essence and began to put his life on the line. All of the blood essence within the rainbow divine vermilion bird's body burned as the supreme Tao energy within its body surged explosively. It then unleashed its most powerful divine ability, the rainbow divine light, with all its might. Within a radius of several million kilometers, the rainbow divine light imbued with a crimson divine light permeated through heaven and earth as it clashed with the attacks unleashed by Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu. Space and time shattered as surging energy and spatial turbulence engulfed everything. Even the 9 heavens within a radius of 1 trillion kilometers were trembling and trembling. All of the other heavenly venerates who were battling were also struck by the shock waves of the battle, and all of them stopped their battles in shock as they looked toward the supreme heavenly venerate's battlefield. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu were all mentally connected. After the battle with the blood demon tribe's supreme heavenly venerate erupted, the 3 of them released all of their clones to seal off the space within a radius of over 1 trillion kilometers. There was no way the blood demon tribe's supreme heavenly venerate would be able to escape. Yi Tianzong swept aside the surging energy and spatial turbulence with his golden eyes of illusion breaker. At this moment, a rainbow divine vermilion bird over 1,000 feet in size stood between heaven and earth with an extremely feeble expression on its face. From the countless wounds on its body and the purplish-golden blood flowing from its body, it was quite clear that it had been severely wounded. Yi Tianzong did not hesitate at the sight of the blood demon tribe's supreme heavenly venerate. He immediately unleashed a combined attack with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu. Within the immortal mansion, there were many supreme heavenly venerates who were Yi Tianzong's opponents. As such, Yi Tianzong was not in the mood to waste time with the blood demon tribe's supreme heavenly venerate, nor was he going to use it to test his own strength. After severely wounding the enemy, he was going to kill it on the spot. The blood demon tribe's supreme heavenly venerate was indeed not in a very good condition at this moment. Yi Tianzong's true strength was much greater than his, and Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu's strength were also slightly higher than his. Although he had withstood the attacks of the 3 of them, he had also been severely wounded. Although he could recover very quickly, he did not believe that the enemy would give him the time to do so. With a heavy heart, the Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate wanted to take advantage of the time when the attacks had just ended to escape from the encirclement. However, he discovered that the space within a radius of 1,000,000,000,000 kilometers had been completely sealed off. It was very difficult for him to cross the void. Just as he was anxiously trying to think of a way out, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu suddenly turned into flowing light and intertwined above his head. What's this? The Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate was a little confused. However, he suddenly seemed to have thought of something. His expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly burned all the blood essence in his body again before desperately trying to escape. Unfortunately, it was already too late. The flowing light that Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had turned into quickly merged into one in the sky, and then turned into a tricolor beam of light that was a perfect fusion of gold, chaos, and silver. After the tricolor beam of light appeared, the entire world fell silent. All the battles stopped in an instant. It was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. The Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate, who wanted to escape, was also locked and suppressed by an incomprehensible force. He could not move at all, and only his mind could think slightly. He just watched as the tricolor beam of light penetrated his head at a speed that he could not reach, and then penetrated his body. In an instant, it went back and forth more than 10 times. The Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate's consciousness fell into endless darkness. The moment the Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate's consciousness disappeared, Yi Tianzong directly extracted 10 drops of blood essence from his corpse. With blood as the guide, the netherworld leads the way. A karmic thread appeared from the extracted blood essence, and then extended into the depths of an unknown spacetime. Yi Tianzong looked at the karmic thread, and after informing Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu to wait where they were, he rushed into the long river of time and space without hesitation. A moment later, Yi Tianzong returned to where he was. The moment he left, he had already found the true spirit of the Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate hidden in the long river of time through the karmic thread and completely destroyed his true spirit. From now on, there would be no more Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate in the Myriad Races world, and it would be impossible for him to be resurrected. After nodding at Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, Yi Tianzong turned to look at the Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate, whose face was already ashen. He casually waved out a long river of sword qi, which then divided into 10 streams and attacked the remaining 10 Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerates. Although the Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerates tried their best to resist, they were all seriously injured in the face of the huge gap in strength. End the battle quickly. Don't let a single one escape. Yi Tianzong said indifferently, and then disappeared with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, leaving the Heavenly Venerate battlefield. The Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate had been eliminated, and the remaining 10 Supreme Heavenly Venerates had been injured by him. However, the human tribe had 20 Supreme Heavenly Venerates, so there was no need for him to watch over what happened next. If they still let the Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerate escape, it could only be said that the human tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerates were useless. The human tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerates, who were bursting with confidence, did not disappoint Yi Tianzong. Not a single one of the Blood Demon Tribe's Supreme Heavenly Venerates managed to escape. They were all killed. Without their Supreme Heavenly Venerates, the Blood Demon Tribe was no longer a threat to the human tribe. The Blood Demon Tribe's territory had already been opened to the human tribe. The human tribe's countless armies rushed into the Blood Demon Tribe's territory excitedly and crazily, slaughtering countless Blood Demon Tribe creatures along the way. Yi Tianzong had already informed the human tribe that the Blood Demon Tribe's corpses and demon cores could be used to refine elixirs. Therefore, the Blood Demon Tribe was a moving treasure in the eyes of the human tribe's army. The human tribe's army was filled with killing intent. In 100 years, The human tribe had completely occupied the blood demon tribe's territory and slaughtered more than 80% of the blood demon tribe's creatures. The rest were either reared in captivity or sold as slave. Chapter 441. The blood demon race, the greatest enemy of the human race since ancient times, had been annihilated just like that. The huge territory had expanded the human race's territory by nearly half. Such a huge territory was enough for the human race to digest for 100,000 years. In the central sky palace, all the heavenly venerate powerhouses of the human race had gathered again for the purpose of dividing the blood demon race's territory. Besides Yi Haoran and some other heavenly venerates, the rest of the human race heavenly venerates looked at Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu in awe. During the battle with the blood demon race, Yi Tianzong and the other two had killed a supreme heavenly venerate of the blood demon race despite being only at the great heavenly venerate level. The rest of the heavenly venerates were in awe of this earth-shattering power. Since they could even kill a supreme heavenly venerate, it wouldn't take much effort to annihilate them. The supreme heavenly venerate, who was sitting at the head of the table, also looked at Yi Tianzong and the other two and couldn't help but feel surprised. Although he had guessed that Yi Tianzong and the other two should be comparable to or even stronger than a supreme heavenly venerate, he hadn't expected that they would be able to kill a supreme heavenly venerate of the blood demon race so easily. If all the heavenly venerates present knew that Yi Tianzong had not only killed a supreme heavenly venerate of the blood demon race but also completely wiped out its true spirit, who knew if they would be even more shocked. During this heavenly venerate conference, every heavenly venerate had received a corresponding large territory to rule. Yi Tianzong and the other two had received the most. In addition, this heavenly venerate conference had also decided that the human race would remain dormant for 100,000 years. After all the heavenly venerates had left, the supreme heavenly venerate looked at Yi Tianzong and said, "The demon race, the heavenly saint race, and the star spirit race are the oldest and most powerful races in the myriad races' great realm. The power of these three races occupies more than 70% of the vast great realm. If the human race wants to rise, these three races can't obstruct us apart from annexing the other races. Otherwise, it will take us a long time to rise. The demon race is in your hands." Yi Tianzong raised his eyebrows when he heard that. He understood the meaning behind the supreme heavenly venerate's words. Then, he said calmly, "The world needs to be rich and colorful. It doesn't need to be the same. The human race will rise one day. Let the demon race fall into chaos a few more times." Supreme Celestial Master of the Void and Yi Tianzong looked at each other and smiled knowingly. After returning to the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace, Yi Tianzong looked at Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu and said, "We have things to do again. The demon race cannot be allowed to calm down, and the human race needs more time. But there's no hurry. We'll go again in 10 or 20,000 years. All right. Understood." Yi Tianzong and the other two announced that they were going into seclusion once again. This time, they went into seclusion for almost 70,000 years. After 20,000 years of seclusion, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu controlled the immortal mansion and went to the demon race's territory again. This time, Yi Tianzong and the other two did not start from the demon race's territory near the human race's territory. Instead, they went directly to the central region of the demon race's territory. According to Yi Tianzong's secret investigation, he found out that the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe had increased the intensity of their attacks on the demon race. More than half of the demon race's supreme heavenly venerates were confronting the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe at the border. Therefore, Yi Tianzong directly attacked the supreme saint lands that did not have a supreme heavenly venerate true body. His attack showed all the demon race's forces that the thief had returned and was even more powerful. The demon race that had gradually calmed down and organized their forces to fight against the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe was in chaos again. This time, not only were the emperors and supremes attacked, but even the kings and supremes were also attacked. Countless resources were stolen, countless outstanding geniuses were killed, and a large number of heavenly venerates were attacked and either killed or seriously injured. This time, the demon race learned their lesson. The supreme heavenly venerates that stayed in the demon race's territory immediately came out to search for traces of the thief. At the same time, the demon race's heavenly venerates and great emperors quickly formed small teams of 10 or 1,000 people and spread out to search for traces of the thief. All the great emperors, celestial venerables, and supreme celestial venerables of the demon clan searched for the thief inch by inch with bloodshot eyes. They swore that they would find the damn, unforgivable thief. They had never seen such a shameless thief before. Unfortunately, with the supreme treasure of the immortal mansion, the demon race's great emperors and heavenly venerates couldn't find traces of Yi Tianzong and the other two no matter how hard they searched. The thief was still under the strict search of all the demon race's great emperors and heavenly venerates. The thief appeared in the areas that the demon race's experts had just searched. Not only did he steal resources, but he also attacked the demon race's great emperors and heavenly venerates from time to time. Moreover, after he attacked, he immediately fled and disappeared without a trace. All the demon race's experts were so angry that they were about to explode. The Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe also found out about the chaos in the demon race. These two overlord races that had a blood feud with the demon race naturally wouldn't let go of such a great opportunity. They immediately increased their forces several times and launched an attack on the demon race's territory. The battle between the three overlord races escalated further and the scale of the battle increased several times. Due to the actions of the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe, the demon race had no choice but to brace themselves and send more forces. The demon race's internal forces were further weakened. As a result, Yi Tianzong and the other two became even more lawless. The demon race was very uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable. For countless billions of years, they had never faced such internal and external troubles like now. They were constrained everywhere, and their reputation was greatly damaged by a thief. They had become the laughingstock of the myriad races and the great 1,000 domains. With Yi Tianzong and the other two taking turns to stir up trouble in the demon race's territory, the demon race was somewhat powerless in the war against the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe. They were forced to retreat step by step. Not only did they lose countless members, but they also lost tens of billions of miles of territory. Yi Tianzong and the other two didn't have the slightest intention of sympathizing with the demon race. They continued to stir up trouble in the demon race. It would be best if the demon race couldn't breathe under the attacks of the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe. This way, they wouldn't have the energy to find trouble with the human race. After 40,000 years, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu saw that the demon race had lost more than 1/5 of their vast territory under the attacks of the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe. They quietly left the demon race and returned to the human race. In the 40,000 years that they had wreaked havoc in the demon race's territory, countless great emperors of the demon race had died in the hands of the three of them. Even the number of heavenly venerables who died or were injured exceeded 200. Now that the thief had become the public enemy of the demon race, the supreme heavenly venerables of the demon race would try their best to fulfill one request of the informant. After returning to the human race, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu didn't come out of seclusion. Instead, they continued to cultivate in seclusion. They piled up the endless resources they had plundered into a vast mountain range and refined level 7, level 8, and level 9 divine pills and weapons. As for the resources that were useless to them, Yi Tianzong directly put a batch of them into his Qiankuan ring and gave them to the Hao Ranjin sect so that they could cultivate more disciples. Then, Yi Tianzong and Yi Xianchen each received a batch of countless resources to cultivate the 10 billion heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals under their command. After giving out 3 batches of resources in succession, there were still endless resources piled up in the immortal mansion. Not even 1/10 of them were given out. Guarding the endless mountain range of resources, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, as well as their doppelgangers, began to refine all kinds of pills and weapons. However, the pills they refined were all God-King level, Emperor level, and Supreme level divine pills. After 100,000 years in the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong and the other 2 consumed most of the high-level resources they had plundered from the demon race and refined them into pills and weapons. There were a total of 6 billion God-King level divine pills, 500 million Emperor level divine pills, 100,000 Supreme level divine pills, and 2,000 sky-connecting Supreme pills. In the outside world, more than 70,000 years had passed since Yi Tianzong and the other 2 announced that they were going into seclusion. On this day, the 3 of them, who had been busy for a long time, came out of seclusion once again. After coming out of seclusion, a large number of God-King level and Emperor level divine pills appeared in the territories ruled by Yi Tianzong, Yi Haoren, and Yi Haoyun. There were also tens of thousands of Supreme level divine pills. Once again, the experts of the human race went wild. During the past 10,000 years, Yi Tianzong processed most of the divine pills he had refined in 10 batches. Not only did this greatly increase the human race's strength and prestige, but they also obtained countless high-level resources. When the human race's seclusion period of 100,000 years ended, the number of great emperors in the human race had exceeded 4 million, and the number of celestial venerables had reached 60. There were 20 new celestial venerables. Chapter 442. In 100,000 years, the human race had gained 20 new heavenly venerate experts. This was simply impossible in the past. In the past, the human race would be happy to have a new heavenly venerate every 300,000 years. Now they had gained 20 new heavenly venerates in just 100,000 years. This was not only because of Yi Tianzong's elixir pills, but also because the human race's great emperors were amazing and had a strong foundation. Otherwise, a useless great emperor wouldn't have been able to become a heavenly venerate even with 10 supreme sky elixirs. Thus, it could be seen that the human race was in the process of rising. After 100,000 years, all the heavenly venerates of the human race gathered in the central sky palace once again. Heavenly venerate Wanlei, who had reached the late-stage heavenly venerate realm, said angrily, "The Silvermoon clan doesn't know what's good for them. Our human race hasn't gone to settle the score with them, yet they dare to take the initiative to provoke us. They deserve to die." Heavenly venerate Li Tsang said coldly, "If we didn't need them as a buffer to resist the chaotic spirits in the spirit-restricted extremists, we would have exterminated them." The heavenly venerates of the human race in the central sky palace were all sulking. The reason for this was that the Silvermoon clan had taken the initiative to attack the human race. Given the current strength of the human race, this was simply a reckless provocation. The spirit-restricted extremists, along with the endless demon abyss, the ancient sky burial region, and the shattered star sea, were one of the 4 great extremists of the myriad race's great thousand world. The depths of the 4 great extremists were connected to a mysterious and dangerous vast spacetime. Endless destructive power filled the depths of the 4 great extremists, and creatures from outside the chaos would often break into the spacetime in the depths of the 4 great extremists. These creatures of chaos were incompatible with the world, as if they existed to destroy the world and its living beings. Once they entered the myriad race's great thousand world through the broken spacetime in the depths of the extremists, all living beings would vanish wherever they passed. There would be no vitality, and large areas of spiritual energy treasured lands would become dead lands. The creatures that appeared in the 4 great extremists were the common enemies of all living beings in the myriad race's great thousand world. Yi Tianzong said coldly, Since the Silver Moon clan doesn't know when to stop and is arrogant and conceited, there is no need to let them continue to exist. Our human race's strength is already sufficient. It's time for us to expand once more. This time, we can wipe out the Silver Moon race. A mere 5 celestial venerables from the Silver Moon clan could hold off the Spirit Forbidden Land for tens of millions of years. There's no reason why our human race can't do the same. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu followed Yi Tianzong's opinion, and the three of them were existences that could kill supreme heavenly venerates, so when Yi Tianzong spoke, most of the human heavenly venerates naturally had no objections. After the supreme celestial venerate of the void expressed his intention to exterminate the Silver Moon clan, all the celestial venerates of the human clan reached a consensus. The human race, which had been silent for 100,000 years, was mobilized again. Countless god-kings and great emperors, under the command of the heaven, were sent to the human border in batches to prepare for the upcoming war. This time, the human race was prepared to get rid of the cracking gold race, the Silver Moon race, the Goluo race, and the mysterious underworld race. Among the 4 major races, besides the cracking gold race and the Goluo race, which were mid-tier races, each race had 3 heavenly venerates. The Silver Moon race had 5 heavenly venerates. The mysterious underworld race was a powerful race that had supreme heavenly venerates. Before Yi Tianzong's rise, the human race had just been ranked in the top 10 of all the races in the Great Thousand Domains. Behind the human race, the blood demon race's strength was not much different from the human race. They only had 1 less heavenly venerate and a few great emperors. The mysterious underworld race was ranked 9th among the 10,000 races. Their overall strength was above that of the human race in the past. They had 1 supreme heavenly venerate, 16 ancient heavenly venerates, and 3 great heavenly venerate. As the human race continued to develop and strengthen, the strength of the mysterious underworld race didn't stagnate either. Now, besides having 1 supreme heavenly venerate, the mysterious underworld race had 23 ancient heavenly venerates and 5 great heavenly venerates. In comparison, besides Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, the human race had 1 supreme heavenly venerate, 57 ancient heavenly venerates, and only 2 great heavenly venerates. Besides great heavenly venerate Xingyang, the other great heavenly venerate was originally a late-stage human heavenly venerate called Great Heavenly Venerate Jyoti. Although the human race would have the advantage if they attacked the mysterious underworld race with such a lineup, they would also suffer great casualties. However, it was different with Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu. The 3 of them had the combat strength to kill a supreme heavenly venerate. This way, the human race's losses would be minimized, and they would have the confidence to deal with the 4 races at the same time. In the Silver Moon race, 5 heavenly venerates were gathered together to discuss the matter of attacking the human race. An early-stage heavenly venerate from the Silver Moon race said worriedly, "The strength of the human race has been increasing rapidly in the past few 100,000 years. If we take the initiative to attack the human race now, won't we anger the human race and be suppressed by them?" Upon hearing this, the only great heavenly venerate from the Silver Moon race said confidently, "That won't happen. The Silver Moon race is close to the Forbidden Spirit perimeter. The human race still needs the Silver Moon race to help them resist the dangers of the Forbidden Spirit perimeter. They won't do anything to the Silver Moon race. This time, no matter how bad it is, at most, we'll just have to apologize." The great heavenly venerate from the Silver Moon race had just finished speaking when an anxious great emperor barged into the hall. Before the heavenly venerates present could reprimand him, the great emperor said in a panic, reporting to the heavenly venerate, "The human race is attacking. Countless armies have covered the sky and earth and have torn through our defensive line in an instant. Wherever they passed, the Silver Moon race was exterminated." "What? The human race? How dare they?" the great heavenly venerate from the Silver Moon race said in disbelief. He couldn't believe that the human race was really going to attack them. In the past millions of years, no matter how they provoked them, the human race would at most teach them a lesson and never seriously injure them. Now, the human race was determined to completely exterminate them. Most importantly, they hadn't received any news in advance. How was this possible? Under normal circumstances, the human race wouldn't be able to hide such a large movement from the Silvermoon race. However, there were exceptions. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had been wantonly destroying and stealing resources in the demon race's territory. They had been lucky enough to snatch 3 medium-sized grotto heavens from the hands of the demon race's heavenly venerates. Yi Tianzong had generously erased the imprint of one of the grotto heavens and given it to the heavenly court. The medium-sized grotto heavens were billions of miles wide and could hold trillions of troops. Obviously, they didn't need trillions of troops to deal with the Silvermoon race. Therefore, in this attack on the Silvermoon race, 30 billion troops and 200 billion troops from various large factions entered the grotto heavens from the human race's territory. Then, heavenly venerates carried the grotto heavens to the border between the human race and the Silvermoon race. They directly released the human army from the grotto heavens and let them attack as they pleased. Then, Yi Tianzong, Li Tsang, Yu Chen, Yuan Su, Great Heavenly Venerate Jiudi, Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, and Heavenly Venerate Gu Yu headed straight for the center of the Silvermoon race's territory. While the 5 heavenly venerates of the Silvermoon race were still shocked by the human race's large-scale attack, Yi Tianzong and the others had already torn open the void and arrived at the center of the Silvermoon race's territory. After sensing the Silvermoon race's heavenly venerates' auras, Yi Tianzong led the other heavenly venerates over without any nonsense. A sky-piercing golden divine sword slashed down, turning into a boundless sea of sword energy that could destroy heaven and earth. The 5 heavenly venerates of the Silvermoon race were submerged in the sea of sword energy. After unleashing this move, Yi Tianzong didn't do anything else. By the time the 5 heavenly venerates of the Silvermoon race struggled to break free from the sea of sword energy, they were all seriously injured. At this moment, Li Tsang, Yu Chen, Yuan Su, Great Heavenly Venerate Jiudi, Heavenly Venerate Myriad Thunder, and Heavenly Venerate Gu Yu rushed over. Yi Tianzong had already injured the enemy, so the rest was up to them. As usual, they couldn't let a single one escape. Yi Tianzong didn't stop. He crossed a great distance and arrived at the Silvermoon race's forbidden land. When he arrived, Yi Tianzong only felt a supreme, boundless, and all-encompassing origin source law blocking his path. After experiencing it for a moment, Yi Tianzong knew that this was the power of the heavenly Tao. Through that layer of heavenly Tao power barrier, Yi Tianzong saw a vast, desolate area behind it. Wisps of gray-black gas filled the desolate space. Yi Tianzong learned from the nearby Silvermoon race guards that this heavenly Tao power barrier prevented the Forbidden Land from expanding. At the same time, it also prevented beings below the heavenly venerate level from entering. The chaos spirits that emerged from the Forbidden Spirit Lands seemed to carry an unknown power. This power could temporarily resist the power of the Way of the Heavens, allowing the chaos spirits to pass through the barrier of the Way of the Heavens. From there, they could walk out of the Forbidden Spirit Lands and destroy the creatures of the world. Chapter 443. Yi Tianzong didn't stay in the Spirit Restriction Extremis for long. He still had other battles to attend and didn't have the time for the time being. With a wave of his hand, countless array discs appeared in the void. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu's figures also appeared one after another. Then, the 3 of them formed hand seals together and countless array discs were arranged according to a mysterious trajectory under their control. Finally, a golden boundary that spanned billions of miles appeared in front of the Sky Great Path barrier. This was a boundary that prevented any living being below the heavenly venerate level from entering. It used the boundless power of heaven and earth as its source and could also stop the chaos ferocious spirits in the Spirit Restriction Extremis for at least half an hour. Once a chaos-ferocious spirit attacked the boundary, Yi Tianzong would be able to sense it instantly even if it was billions of miles away and rush over immediately. As for the people from the Silver Moon clan who were originally guarding the spirit restriction extremists, Yi Tianzong immediately used the summoning wind and rain ability. The destructive storm was like a sharp sword that wreaked havoc across billions of miles. Countless people from the Silver Moon clan perished under the endless storm. Without waiting to see the outcome, Yi Tianzong and the other two turned around and tore through the void to leave and head towards the battlefield of the mysterious underworld race. At the moment, Supreme Heavenly Venerate Su Kong and Supreme Heavenly Venerate Mysterious Underworld were fighting in the 9 heavens above the battlefield of the mysterious underworld race. As the two of them moved, the void within billions of miles trembled. Time and space trembled, and even the stars in the sky were on the verge of collapsing. Below them, the heavenly venerates of the human race and the mysterious underworld race were also fighting to the death. There were a total of 34 human race heavenly venerates attacking the mysterious underworld race this time. They were competing with the 23 heavenly venerates of the mysterious underworld race to unleash their strongest attacks in order to eliminate their enemies. The sky shattered, the sea of clouds collapsed, and boundless nomological laws collided and dissipated. The void within billions of miles trembled and endless spatial fragments scattered. Apart from heavenly venerates, no one else could interfere in this vast battlefield of heavenly venerates. The human race had more heavenly venerates, but there was only one great heavenly venerate while the mysterious underworld race had 5 great heavenly venerates. At least 3 late-stage heavenly venerates could barely resist the attack of one great heavenly venerate. As a result, the human race was at a disadvantage. At this moment of intense battle, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu tore through the void and appeared on the battlefield. Their supreme and domineering auras shook the universe. When the human race's celestial venerables saw Yi Tianzong and the other two arrive, their spirits were lifted and their faces lit up with joy. Without further ado, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu directly entered the heavenly venerate battlefield. The supreme exalted heavenly venerate above the 9 skies was fighting. With the supreme exalted void around, the mysterious underworld supreme exalted heavenly venerate couldn't do anything for the time being. This was the perfect opportunity to eliminate the mysterious underworld heavenly venerates. With Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, these 3 supreme heavenly venerates, the situation of the battle instantly reversed. The 3 of them directly attacked the mysterious underworld race's great heavenly venerate. All the mysterious underworld race's great heavenly venerates were severely injured in a few moves and lost their ability to fight. Then, Yi Tianzong and the other 2 sealed them up and put them in the immortal mansion. It would be too wasteful to kill all these great heavenly venerates. Even the blood and bodies of great emperors were rare materials for refining weapons and alchemy, let alone heavenly venerates. These sealed mysterious underworld races' great heavenly venerates could be used as raw materials to provide even more heavenly venerate blood, so that the human race could produce even more outstanding talent. After sealing the mysterious underworld race's great heavenly venerates, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu split into tens of thousands of bodies and fused back into one. In a short moment, all the mysterious underworld race's great heavenly venerates had been attacked by the 3 of them and had suffered serious injuries. I'll leave the rest to you guys. Don't let a single one escape. After saying that, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu soared into the sky and stepped into the endless void above the 9 heavens. There, they immediately saw the supreme heavenly venerate of the void and the mysterious underworld supreme heavenly venerate engaged in an intense battle. The mysterious underworld race had risen hundreds of millions of years before the human race, and the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld had existed for even longer than the supreme heavenly venerate of the void. Supreme heavenly venerate powerhouses were existences that heaven and earth couldn't destroy or bury. They had almost the same lifespan as heaven and earth and were immortal. Therefore, generally speaking, whoever had existed for a longer period of time would be more powerful. In the great thousand realms of the myriad races, any existence that became a supreme heavenly venerate was a proud son of heaven. They were supreme talents that stood at the top of the great thousand realms of the myriad races regardless of whether it was talent, fortune, or foundation. Even if there was a slight difference between them, it was almost negligible. They were all true supreme talents that had experienced countless hardships to grow up, so no one could be much weaker than the other. Therefore, under normal circumstances, those who had cultivated for a longer time would be stronger. Originally, the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld had been stronger than the supreme heavenly venerate of the void. However, with the rapid rise and expansion of the human race, the supreme heavenly venerate of the void's cultivation speed had become faster and faster with the help of the human race's fortune. In just over 600,000 years, the supreme heavenly venerate of the void's strength had improved by a large margin, which was equivalent to the results of tens of millions of years of cultivation. Therefore, although the supreme heavenly venerate of the void's strength was still inferior to the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld, the supreme heavenly venerate of the void couldn't hurt him. While the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld was furious, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu stepped onto the battlefield and immediately joined the battle. Humph! How dare three great heavenly venerate ants act so fiercely in front of me? How arrogant! The supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld blew his top. He was a dignified supreme heavenly venerate, yet he was being looked down upon by three great heavenly venerate ants. This was simply an insult and contempt to him. However, to his surprise, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu broke through the power of the mysterious underworld great path and slashed at him with their swords. How is this possible? Mysterious underworld supreme heavenly venerate actually felt a strong sense of crisis from the three great heavenly venerate. What did this mean? It meant that the three great heavenly venerates attacking him had the strength of a supreme heavenly venerate, especially the great heavenly venerate with the golden sword in the middle. He was practically on par with him. Was this a joke? Since when did a great heavenly venerate possess the strength to threaten a supreme heavenly venerate? This was simply unheard of. However, regardless of whether the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld believed it or not, the attacks of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had already arrived before him. He wanted to resist, but how could the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld give him the chance to do so? He used a space imprisonment technique to imprison the distracted supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld. Although it was only for a moment, the divine swords of Yi Tianzong and the other two had already landed on the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld. The supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld was unavoidably injured. Although he had tried his best to defend himself, his indestructible supreme Tao body still cracked after being hit by three powerhouses who were equivalent to a supreme heavenly venerate. Purple gold blood dripped from his body and instantly turned into a sea of blood that surged in the void. Yi Tianzong, who wanted to end the battle quickly, combined with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu again after injuring the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld and unleashed a forbidden mystic ability. A tricolored beam of light appeared between heaven and earth. In an instant, the sky and earth fell silent. Time and space came to a standstill, and everything stopped moving. The supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld, who had wanted to escape when he saw that the situation had taken a turn for the worse, was immobilized and unable to move. Even his sovereign spirit was unable to leave his body. He could only watch helplessly as the tricolored beam of light penetrated his head and body, and his consciousness fell into a dark abyss. The tricolored beam of light disappeared and Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu appeared. Then, Yi Tianzong extracted 10 drops of blood essence from the body of the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld and used the karmic laws once again to follow the karmic threads and enter the depths of the endless river of time. By the time Yi Tianzong returned, the true spirit of the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld, which had been hidden in the long river of time, had been completely obliterated by Yi Tianzong. The supreme heavenly venerate of the void looked at Yi Tianzong, who had returned, and asked, "Is he dead?" Yi Tianzong did not hide anything. His true spirit has been destroyed and there is no possibility of resurrection. After a moment of silence, the supreme heavenly venerate of the void said, "In that case, I can rest assured. It's best to eliminate the enemy completely. I'll leave this place to you. I'll head back first." Yi Tianzong said, "Well, don't worry. None of the mysterious underworld races, godly monarchs and above, are still alive." The battle in the sky had ended and the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld race had fallen. The mysterious underworld heavenly venerates, who were fighting the human race heavenly venerates below, suddenly felt a great sense of emptiness and sorrow. They knew that the supreme heavenly venerate had fallen. The mysterious underworld heavenly venerate powerhouses knew that their greatest hope and reliance had fallen. Thus, they had gone all out and wanted to perish together with the human race's heavenly venerate. Unfortunately, the human race's heavenly venerates were no fools. Furthermore, the mysterious underworld heavenly venerates had already been injured by Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu. Their injuries had worsened during the battle, so even if they self-destructed and perished together with the human race's heavenly venerates, it wouldn't be very effective. How could the human race's heavenly venerates be so easily tricked by the enemy now that they were prepared?